I have witnessed a lot of villa chaos in my time, and what I just watched might be the single most unhinged 60 minutes this season has produced so far. There is a moment in this episode where the entire island, and I mean every single islander, physically forms a human barricade to stop one girl from walking up a flight of stairs. A blockade, like she is a state secret about to be leaked. And the reason why is so devastating that I genuinely had to mute my own television because the screaming hit a frequency only dogs and concerned neighbors could appreciate. There is a man in here who introduces a brand new analogy roughly every 90 seconds. Buoys, burning houses, three little pigs. I am not exaggerating. He treats his love life like a TED Talk he did not rehearse. And then there is the bombshell at the end. The one nobody saw coming, including me. And I see everything. One person decides to start a fire in a part of the villa they have absolutely no business being near, and it is going to detonate a friendship that I genuinely thought was untouchable. I'm going to walk you through every drop of it, but I will warn you now, by the time we get to the bottom of this episode, you are going to be looking at one of these stable couples completely differently. Trust me on that. So before we dive into this absolute chaos, smash that subscribe button if you love messy drama breakdowns. Hit the like button and the new hype button because it genuinely helps us grow and reach more tea lovers like you. And stick around because the back half of this episode is where everything quietly falls apart and you do not want to miss who lights the match. Let us get into it. So a quick reminder of where we left things, because the producers love leaving us hanging off a cliff by our fingernails. Last we saw, Sincere and Melanie were having the talk. After Sincere's little kiss with Soul very nearly got caught by Melanie herself. Sincere did own up to the kiss, which points for honesty, except he conveniently framed it as Soul being the initiator while he was just out here valiantly trying to salvage his relationship. Sure, we will circle back to how true that is. The vote happened. We have to wait for the results until tomorrow, but today built up the repercussions that we may see tomorrow. First up, Melanie goes to Aniya and lets her know that Sincere kissed Soul. Word is officially traveling. Melanie, to her credit, actually sits with it and recognizes she messed up. She owns that she has to let him explore. She is holding those tears back with the strength of a woman bench-pressing her own composure. And she admits Sincere has every right to go discover the world. She's evolving. We will see how long that lasts, because I have my doubts, and I think you do too. Cut to Sincere, who hits the boys, Bryce and Zach, with the news that the cat is officially out of the bag that he and Soul kissed. And then he says, and I want you to really absorb this, that he enjoyed the heck out of it. Zach, being a man of culture, immediately asks the only question that matters. Whose kiss was better? Sincere says both were good, but then he tips his hand. He says Soul reciprocates affection, while with Melanie, he has had to chase her this entire time. And there it is. That is the actual root of all of this. Meanwhile, Melanie is processing out loud with Aniya, asking, how dirty did I really do him? And she has a point. She has never pulled anyone for a chat. She has never kissed anyone outside of a challenge. She says if he wants to go get with Soul, then fine. Go ahead. She is going to be a big girl about it. Will she be a big girl about it? I highly, highly doubt it. For some reason, hold that thought.
Now, while that volcano is gently bubbling, let us check in on the rest of the island, because the chaos is not exclusive. Kenzie and Corbin catch up, and Kenzie opens up that she kissed Caleb. She admits she is not used to having a roster, which is the most relatable thing anyone has said all episode. But here is the part that I think changes everything. She says while she was kissing Caleb, she could not stop thinking about Corbin. And Corbin, he loves hearing that. He is encouraging, he is mature, he is thankful she was honest. Genuinely a lovely moment. Except, it quietly flips a switch in his brain. He realizes the whole name of the game is to explore, and his outlook does a complete 180. Remember that. That tiny little shift is going to matter later. Over to Bryce and Trinity, who are having what looks like a healthy conversation, which, in this villa, is practically an endangered species. Trinity is starting to really like Bryce, but she does not know if it is mutual. She asks if he would kiss anyone else, and he says no. She just wants more affection, and she does not want to compare them to the other couples. Bryce, for his part, has been feeling a little unappreciated, like he is not doing enough. They actually talk it through. He is grateful she spoke up, and they seal it with a kiss. Adorable, stable, healthy. Burn this image into your memory, because I want you to remember exactly how solid this looked right now. Then we get Gabe and Beatriz, fresh off Gabe kissing both bombshells, Jen and Soul. Gabe is honest about it, which Beatriz responds to with a clipped little thanks, and a guard so high it has its own watchtower. In her interview, though, the mask comes off. She is pissed. She vents to Trinity and Kayda, and Gabe, classy as ever, goes to tell Bryce, Zach, and Caleb about the kisses, complete with the obligatory bro laugh. He reveals he enjoyed the kiss with Jen more, which Beatriz, by the way, already predicted, because she clocked that he likes blondes. The woman is psychic and underappreciated. Beatriz tells the girls that if a shiny new thing can turn your head that easily, then so be it. And she delivers the line of the night. She competes for medals, not men. Iconic. Frame it. Kayda encourages her to pull Caleb for a chat. And here is where I actually want to give Beatriz her flowers, because she told us earlier this season that with everything she has been through, she had to be tough. You see it in how she jokes about her leg, how she stays strong, how she does not cry. Gabe has this ability to bring out her soft, feminine side, but the second he behaves like this, the barrier slams right back down. So, I will throw it to you. Do you think Beatriz can bring that soft side back out for Gabe? Or has she fully shut that door on him? Drop your verdict in the comments because I am genuinely split.
Now we reach the part of the night where all the storylines collide, and the girls have a group debrief that nearly broke my television. Melanie and Kenzie join the chat. Beatriz drops that Gabe kissed both bombshells. Melanie drops that Sincere kissed Soul in the speakeasy. And then Kenzie casually reveals that she kissed Caleb. 3 confessions, back to back to back. The overload of tea got everyone so hype that the screaming reached a pitch where I had to mute my own TV for a few seconds, purely so my neighbors would not file a wellness check. Then it is off to bed, and the energy could not be more different across the villa. Soul is out here making her mark, fully comfortable, while Melanie looks on completely defeated. Beatriz announces she is not cuddling Gabe tonight, and honestly, fair, she does not want him touching her, period. And Kenzie is just sitting in her own confusion because she has never messed with 2 guys at once, and the math is not mathing for her. The new bombshells have genuinely scrambled everyone. Trinity is feeling better after her talk with Bryce. But Bryce? He is quietly worried. And Zach pours a little gasoline on it by pointing out that Trinity does not really get Bryce's jokes, and that Bryce has a way better time when it is him, Bryce, and Kayda hanging out. File that away. Underline it. Highlight it. We are coming back to that one, and you are going to gasp. We close out the night with Sincere sitting next to Melanie, giggling to himself as Soul walks in, which is a choice. Kayda is once again completely wrapped around Zach, and Gabe and Beatriz are sleeping on opposite edges of the bed like 2 repelling magnets. What an eventful day, and we are not even close to done. Next morning, everyone wakes up predicting today is going to be a messy butt of a day. Spoiler, they are correct, but not even for the reasons they think. Corbin says he and Kenzie vibe the best out of all the girls. Gabe, manning the breakfast station, confirms he prefers Jen out of the 2 he kissed. And Jen throws a wrench into the whole thing by revealing she is actually into Corbin. The connections are crossing like traffic with no lights. Sincere announces he is going to talk to Soul again. Melanie, deeply over it, says everyone can talk to her man. Sincere says he is taking a step back to take in the full experience and explore. Translation pending. Meanwhile, Kenzie tells Trinity and Aniya that even while she was kissing Caleb, she was thinking about Corbin. So even though Caleb is her type to a T, walked right in the door, her feelings for Corbin are way stronger than she expected. She is going to use today to figure it all out. Trinity is still worried about Bryce, but the girls reassure her that he is completely into her. And listen, I want that reassurance to age well. I really do. But this is Love Island, and reassurance has a shelf life of about 1 commercial break. Speaking of which, the boys have their version of the chat. Bryce brings up how Trinity compares them to the other couples, how they are moving slower. Zach, who I am increasingly convinced is a licensed therapist, suspects Trinity just is not as secure as Bryce thinks, which is why she is voicing all these insecurities. Bryce wonders if it is an age thing, that he already knows what he wants. Zach, is this our new power duo? Cherish it now. Now we get to the Sincere situation. And buckle up. Saul catches up with her bombshell buddy Jen and confesses that everyone here is way more closed off than she expected, but she says she feels closest to Sincere so far. They held hands, they kissed twice, they were completely enamored. The only scary part was that as she was walking out, Melanie was walking in. Talk about timing. They spot Sincere talking to Melanie, and Jen says, out loud, that she is scared for Saul. And she should be, because Sincere and Melanie are having their morning talk while Saul and Jen watch from a distance like 2 anxious investors. Sincere knows Melanie is bothered and wants to clear the air. Melanie admits she is hurt that they kissed. She asks how many times. Sincere says twice. She tells him plainly that if this keeps going the way it is going, their relationship is just going to spiral further and further down. She believes Sincere actually wants Saul, and she warns him, if he goes and explores her, then tries to come crawling back, she will not be there anymore. She admits she has anxiety about all of it, but in her interview, she says something that I think is the whole tragedy of her situation. She says the trust is gone, but she still sees hope because of how she feels with him, the way they talk, the way they look at each other. So Sincere reassures her. He says he is not going to keep kissing Saul. Melanie, sharp, hits him with a yes or no question. Are you going to keep exploring Saul? And Sincere says, no. Sure, Sincere. Yeah, I do not believe him. Not for 1 second. I think he is telling her exactly what she wants to hear to keep this relationship on life support. He wants to keep both fish in the water. He says he wants to fix it, but on the inside, you and I both know he just wants Melanie dangling on the hook while he casts a line for other fish. And it works. Melanie literally jumps on him, kisses him, and decides she wants to keep trying. So phase 1 of his plan is officially a success. But I do not trust this man as far as I can throw his analogies. She heads back to Aniya and Beatriz and admits she still likes Sincere, but she is worried about Saul, as she should be. And to confirm every suspicion, Sincere goes right back to the boys and lays out his actual strategy. Melanie is still option number 1. Saul is, and I quote his soul, a buoy, and the ship has not sailed yet. The man is speaking entirely in nautical riddles. Bryce, naturally, thinks it is great that he is exploring so he can compare experiences. And Sincere caps it off with a burning house analogy, because, of course he does. This man has a whole filing cabinet of analogies and refuses to use a single literal sentence.
Quick palate cleanser, because we deserve one. Casey catches up with Aniya. He asks how she is feeling, and he reassures her that he is nothing like Sincere, that the two of them are stable. He does not want her stressed. Aniya says she feels good, and honestly, they are stable. Casey genuinely did a great job bringing her back to a place of feeling safe. Every single episode, Casey grows on me a little more. We will see if that safe feeling survives this villa, but for now, respect. Hold on to Casey. He is about to do something later that earns him a permanent spot in my good graces. And now, right back into the fire. Sincere decides he wants to talk to Soul, so he pulls her for a chat directly in front of all the other girls. Bold. Melanie, obviously, sees this, and he takes Soul to the daybed called Soul Ties, which, given the name, feels like a producer setup. Melanie immediately starts spiraling. Soul positions herself extremely close to Sincere, on his lap close. They chat, and Soul opens up about something genuinely heavy, that the last few years have been hard since her dad passed away. And in that moment, Sincere is affectionate and present with her, and it absolutely does not look like a man putting Melanie first. Down below, Melanie is confiding in Zach and Kayda. Zach asks her the loaded question, what would she do if those two kissed again? And the producers, with comedic timing so sharp it should be illegal, cut immediately to Soul and Sincere kissing again. Sincere's interview is almost impressive in its honesty. He says he has to be meticulous with his actions going forward. He knows he cannot have both, so eventually he has to pick one. But in the meantime, he is going to keep exploring Soul to his heart's content. The audacity, the transparency of the audacity. Let us check on Kenzie and Caleb, who are having a real conversation. Kenzie admits she finds Caleb attractive, and there is a connection, but she still has feelings for Corbin. Caleb confesses he is scared to lock in too early, because once he locks in, he is all in, fully committed. Kenzie agrees she is the type to fall hard too. So they are both conflicted. Caleb just wants to make his girl happy, and Kenzie is eating up every word of it. Sweet, but unresolved. And then, out of absolutely nowhere, Melanie finally pulls Corbin for a chat. Kenzie clocks it instantly. The two of them head off to the bench called Say Less, which, again, the producers naming these spots is sending me. Corbin asks about her connection with Sincere, and Melanie says she does not even want to talk about him. She wants to explore. She asks if Corbin is interested. He says he does look at her, but he is playing it safe because he does not want drama. He asks about her dreams. She says she wants kids and a man who is loyal.
Corbin says he likes her vibe, and then he asks for a kiss. Now here is where Melanie earns some respect from me. She tells him to save it for later because she wants to talk to Kenzie first and get her blessing and have a few more chats. Respectful, mature, and so Corbin gets curbed. Again. For those keeping score, that is twice now, once by Kayda and once by Melanie. This man is collecting rejections like loyalty stamps. And naturally, in his interview, the curbing only makes him want the kiss more. Classic. Melanie then tells Aniya that Corbin asked for a kiss, that she did not do it, and that she needs to talk to Kenzie first. She begs Aniya to keep it a secret. Aniya, keeping a secret. Based on this season's track record, that is like asking a screen door to stop the wind. We will see. Back to the slow-motion car crash that is Melanie and Sincere. Sincere and Soul are still in soul ties, and when Sincere stands up to tell a story, Melanie spots them and realizes they are still talking. She is completely distracted. She keeps replaying how Sincere swears she is his number one, but does not act like it, how he does not consider her at all. She cannot handle how long they have been up there. And here is what makes it sting. Melanie knows she messed up before, but she never once put Sincere in the situation he is putting her in right now. She thinks they are perfect for each other, and she decides she is marching up there to pull Sincere. This is where the villa becomes a defensive line. As she heads up, the guys literally try to block her path. KC steps in to intervene, but Melanie is too determined. She is a woman on a mission. KC asks her the smartest question of the night. What if you go up there and see something you do not want to see? And then KC actually stops her, pointing out that going up there is not going to solve anything. Dang, that was a genuine boss move. KC is out here doing emotional crowd control and saving people from themselves. Give this man a raise. But the damage is done anyway. Because up in Soul Ties, Sincere and Soul are now cuddling, while Melanie is crying her eyes out down below. And in a twist I did not have on my bingo card, Beatriz comes over to console her. These two have had their problems, but Beatriz is not cold-hearted. She tells Melanie to be confident, to stop playing the comparison game, that Soul is just a shiny new thing, and not to get distracted. Meanwhile, the camera keeps cruelly panning back to Sincere and Soul looking completely locked in. Melanie cannot take it anymore and runs off. And Beatriz, bless her, admits she is not actually good at consoling people. Honesty queen. We cut to Beatriz chatting with Corbin. He asks how she feels about Gabe kissing the bombshells, and she says she is not bothered. He asks who has been catching her eye, and she says she is open to getting to know him, to seeing whether he is more than just a pretty face. Corbin lays out his whole life plan. He is ambitious. He wants a family. 3 kids, 1 girl and 2 boys, 1 in basketball and 1 in football. Beatriz says put them in golf. And honestly, I am with Beatriz, but I will be real with you. This conversation was a little bit of a snooze. Sometimes the tea is more of a lukewarm chamomile. But it does serve a purpose because Corbin admits to Beatriz that Melanie pulled him for a chat, that she was the only other one who wanted to talk to him, and that he asked for a kiss, but Melanie said she needed to talk to Kenzie first. And here is the leak we have all been waiting for. While this is happening, Kenzie, sitting with the other Islanders, learns that Corbin asked Melanie for a kiss. And Kenzie is now pissed. In her interview, she says she is going to step back from Corbin and put that wall right back up. She is convinced Melanie is only going for Corbin because of her trouble with Sincere. Now, we do not know exactly where the leak sprung from, but if Melanie only told Aniya, my girl leaked another secret. So let us all make a collective pact going forward. We do not confide anything sensitive in Aniya. Lovely person. Vault made of tissue paper. That night, Kenzie pulls Melanie for a chat. Melanie shares the conversation she had with Corbin and admits Corbin is her type, and she is Corbin's type too. Kenzie tells her, honestly, that she feels hurt. She knows Corbin tried to kiss Mel, but Mel makes sure to say she did not do it, out of respect for Kenzie. So they are both in a tough spot. Kenzie is not happy, but Melanie did do the right thing by being transparent. A messy situation handled with surprising maturity, which I appreciate because I was bracing for a brawl. Okay, this is it. This is the moment I warned you about at the very top. Take a breath. Sincere and Bryce are having a chat, and Sincere busts out yet another analogy, this time involving the 3 little pigs. Endless. The man is a walking storybook. But then, Bryce says something that made my jaw physically unhinge. Bryce admits he might want to explore with Kayda. Kayda, as in Zach's partner. As in Zach, his best friend in the villa. Oh my
goodness. Now, Bryce insists he is happy with Trinity, and he knows this is a tricky situation, but he says Kayda is the only other person he wants to explore. And since Zach is not interested in anyone else, in his mind, there is no real chance, so he might as well go for it. The logic is held together with duct tape and delusion. And here is the cause and effect that I find genuinely fascinating. Trinity opening up about her insecurities this morning sent Bryce into a spiral. The reassurance was supposed to calm him. Instead, it made him insecure about whether he is exploring enough, especially watching Sincere roam the villa freely. Remember, Bryce is the one who advised Sincere to explore, and now he is looking at his own situation and catching the same fever. So Bryce pulls Zach for the chat, and he is nervous, as he should be. He tells Zach that Kayda is his number 2, and he is going to pull her. And Zach laughs. He genuinely thinks Bryce is joking. He is in complete disbelief. Bryce explains that he thinks it would be a disservice to himself not to explore. And here is where Zach reveals he is a full-blown psychic, because he says he does not think Trinity is as into Bryce as Bryce believes, and that Bryce is only doing this out of his own insecurity. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Zach is so secure in his relationship with Kayda that he assumes she is just going to laugh in Bryce's face. He tells Bryce to do what he wants, but to talk to Trinity first. In his interview, Zach simply says, "It is ruthless in the villa." Understatement of the season. And I will be honest, Zach is a psychic, because I already know Kayda is going to laugh at this man too. This is the same Kayda who curbed Bryce embarrassingly hard back in the big bed when they first met. Did he forget? Did the memory just evaporate? So Bryce pulls Trinity and reveals, out of nowhere, that he wants to explore Kayda. He literally says he is not going to drop a bomb, and then proceeds to drop the bomb. He warns her he might pull Kayda for a chat. He insists she is still the priority, that he just wants to be open with her. He asks how she feels about it, and Trinity, perfectly reasonably, says she is not fudging with it. Bryce keeps digging, saying he knows he is not her type traditionally, and Trinity admits her feelings for him had genuinely grown. But in her interview, she says the thing that gutted me. Him already signaling that the relationship is going to fail is what is messing her up in the end. And that is the whole tragedy in one sentence. Trinity voiced one insecurity this morning. That triggered a chain reaction. Bryce got insecure, watched Sincere explore, and decided to start something with Kayda that he has absolutely zero chance at. He took a stable, growing connection and lit a match to it for a girl who already curbed him once. Did he not get the hint in the big bed? Apparently not, because some lessons have to be learned twice. The dynamics are dynamicking, and I am exhausted in the best way.
We pick up right where we left off, and Sincere wastes no time pulling Melanie for a chat. The man who swore on everything that he would stop kissing Soul and then immediately went and kissed Soul has the audacity to come back and say he wants to keep pursuing Melanie. He does not want to end this. Melanie, ever the poet, hits him with, "You can't have your cake and eat it too," which, respectfully, is exactly what cake is for. That's the whole point of cake. Then she does the math out loud. How many times did you kiss her? Sincere says, "Oh, a couple." Melanie says, 4. 4 kisses. In his defense, he was testing the chemistry. Sir, that is not a science experiment. That is a situationship with extra steps. He insists there will be no more kissing with Soul, and then delivers the line of the night. "Any day of the week, I'm picking you." And before she lets him off the hook, Melanie flips the whole thing around. She reminds Sincere that Corbin actually asked her to kiss, and she turned it down. Then she drops it. Fine, keep exploring Soul, because she is going to go explore Corbin. The audacity boomerang thrown all the way back to sender. Cut to his interview, where he compares their relationship to being co-pilots making rest stops on the way to a final destination. "Babe, you are not flying a plane. You are circling the parking lot." Melanie gives him one more chance, mostly because, in her words, she has to forgive him since he forgave her. She closes by confirming, "So we're chatting, but no kissing Soul?" He confirms. We shall see how long that lasts. I give it a paragraph. Meanwhile, Soul and Jen are watching all of this from a distance, and Soul just calls it what it is. It's dumb. Sol, you're the smartest person in this villa, and you've been here 4 episodes.
Quick stop with Corbin and Aniya first, because Corbin is confused. Kenzie is contradicting everything she told him that morning. Aniya says the communication in this villa is a complete mess. But Corbin insists his communication is on point. Sir, confidence and clarity are not the same thing, and you have exactly one of them.
Now, Bryce. Sweet, doomed Bryce. Last episode, he announced he was going to pull Kayda for a chat, and he told both Zach and Trinity he was doing it, which is like announcing your bank robbery to the bank. Zach catches up with KC, and the two of them are just cackling, because the idea of Bryce stealing Zach's girl is, to them, completely unthinkable. Zach is so confident in his connection that he's not even worried. He does, however, drop the read of the night. He's pretty sure that if Kayda gave Bryce the slightest opening, Bryce would leave Trinity in a heartbeat. But here's the soft underbelly. In his interview, Zach admits he actually feels bad for Bryce because the man still hasn't gotten what he wanted out of this entire experience. It's a strange little dilemma. Don't take my girl, but also, I want you to be happy. 100%, he says. And then it happens. Bryce sits Kayda down, pours out his feelings, and Kayda, bless her clarity, tells him, "Don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like we're more friends. Clean. Surgical. No notes." Bryce, to his credit, says he only wanted the conversation to clear the doubts in his head. He's embarrassed, but at least now he knows. Across the villa, Trinity pulls Zach, and Zach learns for the first time that Trinity has zero backup plan. She is all in. Zach's response? He jokes, "What if Bryce and Kayda kissed, since apparently that's just a thing we do now?" The shade, the accuracy. And then Sincere, in the middle of all this, lifts Melanie up in front of everyone like she's a trophy. And she announces to the group that she's got her man back. The girlies are exhausted just watching. The girls head to bed, and the debrief begins. Kenzie admits she is tired of feeling like the second option, which, fair. Kayda spills that Bryce pulled her, and Trinity does not hold back. He's too old to be acting like that. The girls collectively agree the man is operating on the wrong frequency. Then Zach pulls Kayda himself, mostly to laugh about how stupid the whole Bryce move was. And Kayda reassures him she shut it down on the spot. Crisis averted, ego intact. Then Melanie reveals the 4 kisses to the whole room, and she delivers a comparison I will be thinking about for weeks. She says Sincere is out here exploring something he's already explored. Basically, Christopher Columbus, proudly discovering land that was very much already on the map, fully inhabited with a working postal system. Aniya, watching the Sincere and Melanie cycle continue, calls it out perfectly. They have terrible conversations and then they just stick anyway. It's giving toxic glue. The lights go down and the villa gets feral. Kenzie, surprisingly, is making out with Corbin. Kayda is all over Zach while Zach is sitting there contemplating life. And Beatriz is off to the side, looking like she's doing some quiet math of her own. Hold that thought. Hold it very tight. Morning. The vibes get weirder by the day. Bryce tells Zach he's officially done pursuing Kayda. Melanie says she's still not okay with Sincere, but she'll give him one more chance, which at this point is less a chance and more a punch card. Then, Sincere does something so bold, it's almost impressive. He makes breakfast for Melanie and Sol at the same time. Caleb, the only man with survival instincts, quietly advises him to at least serve Melanie hers first. And of course, Melanie clocks it immediately. You cannot outcook your way through a love triangle, sir. Before all that, Melanie pulls Kayda for a debrief and admits she's just not having fun anymore now that it's gotten this messy. She figures she didn't hurt Sincere nearly as much as he hurt her, and Kayda agrees. She also notes her chat with Corbin felt way calmer than the constant chaos with Sincere. Foreshadowing, party of one. Sincere then tells Bryce his feelings are 50-50 between the two women. And Bryce, suddenly the wisest man in the house, points out that he has way more history with Melanie, so he needs to play this smart. When Bryce is giving you sound relationship advice, you have lost the plot entirely. Sol pulls Kenzie for a chat and explains why she's drawn to Sincere. The natural flow, the easy touches. She feels like he's the only one actually willing to explore with her. And Kenzie, who is genuinely one of the kinder people in here, tells Sol she wants to be her friend and doesn't want her feeling left out, even though she's close with Melanie. A rare moment of actual warmth. Treasure it. Quick one for you. Drop a comment and tell me, was the double breakfast the most unhinged thing he's done, or are we forgetting something worse? because I might be forgetting something worse.
Bryce finally sits down with Trinity, and this one gets real. He says he pulled Kayda just to remove any doubt. Trinity opens up about something heavier. She's worried that if a guy who's his type walks in, he'll drift towards someone he's more comfortable with. She brings up race directly and says it would not feel good to watch Bryce choose a brunette like Kayda over her. Bryce tells her the only real reassurance he can give is to choose her in the moment when it actually counts. Trinity decides she's going to get over it, rather than let it sit and rot. But she makes it clear, he is on thin ice, eyes on him. Then Kenzie and Corbin have their talk, and Kenzie tells him he hides behind a hard shell. Corbin admits her kissing Caleb actually did hurt him, but he's glad she was honest. Then he turns around and defends asking Melanie for a kiss, saying he had the right to explore too. Kenzie says it felt tit for tat. In her interview, she admits she was irked, and now she's more open to pursuing Caleb. Corbin, you played yourself in real time. Bryce and Zach catch up one more time, clear the air, and salvage the bromance. The awkwardness lifts. The friendship lives. It's genuinely sweet, which means something terrible is about to happen. A text drops. Challenge time. And our new Aftersun hosts, Sierra and Teffy, walk in, and the villa loses its mind. Kayda, a certified Summer House superfan, is fully starstruck. And honestly, we are too, Kayda. We are too. The game is girls versus boys. They get asked questions, nice ones and naughty ones, and they pick someone from the opposite team who fits. Nice answers get sealed with a kiss. Naughty answers get sealed with a pie to the face. Chaos with a point system. Let's go. Who'd remember your coffee order? Kenzie picks Caleb, straddles him for the kiss, and Corbin's soul leaves his body in real time. Most likely to ghost you. Soul picks Corbin for, and I quote the energy, fudge boy energy. Corbin admits he does ghost, then picks Soul right back. Soul admits she ghosts too. Honest king and queen of the unanswered text. Most likely to defend you when you're not in the room. Kayda picks Zach, who is so giddy he could float. Gabe picks Beatriz, who's been missing the affection, so she's thrilled. Most likely to throw you under the bus. Aniya picks Bryce, pure payback for yesterday. Bryce picks Melanie, the most chaos in the villa, and Melanie looks weirdly delighted about it. Most likely to stop and help a stranger. Melanie picks sincere, which matches the question approximately 0%, so I think she just wanted the kiss. Then Caleb picks Kenzie, and Corbin's smile is now fully gone. Rip that smile. Most likely to sleep with their best friend's partner. Trinity picks Corbin. Then Corbin, gently, picks Kenzie, and the whole villa is confused. His defense is that it's not the sleeping part, it's the talking, the back and forth. Sir, that did not help your case. Most likely to string several people along. Jen picks sincere, pies him hard, and delivers the cleanest hit of the night. I know you're sincere, but you're not honest. Framed, hung in a museum. Sincere, delusional as ever, doesn't think he strung anyone along. Casey then picks Kenzie, and she takes it on the chin because, well, 2 connections. Most likely to tell you that you've got spinach in your teeth. Beatriz picks Caleb, praising how much he respects women, and really goes in on that kiss. Gabe, weirdly, thought she'd pick him. Then Caleb picks Beatriz back, and Gabe starts simmering. And then the one that broke the room. Most likely to break girl code or guy code. Kayda picks Gabe, and Zach picks Soul. Soul blocks her face, and then something shifts. She gets genuinely upset, and she starts to cry. And in her interview, Beatriz argues the boys should have picked Melanie for that question, instead of Soul. I get the history there, but I have to push back. Melanie actually held girl code. She's messy, sure, but she rejected Corbin's kiss. So, in my book, she kept the rules intact. Soul got picked for simply talking to the one person willing to talk to her. This one caught me off guard, because Soul has been so composed. But the pie cracks something open. Suddenly she's saying she doesn't think she's in the wrong for talking to the only person who's been open to talking to her. And honestly, she's right. She's the new girl. She's been treated like an outsider, and she got punished for exploring the one connection that gave her a chance. Here's my read. This was never about a pie. Soul has been feeling like the outcast for days, and getting publicly picked for that question was just the thing that finally let the feelings out. This is Love Island. She moved the only way she could. After the break, she's back and calm, and the game wraps. But the ripple effects are everywhere. Melanie, after watching Soul cry, suddenly feels for her and wants to talk. KC, who cannot handle seeing a girl cry, gently says he wants to chat later when she's calmer. And Zach feels awful because that was the one pie he threw. Tell me in the comments, was the villa unfair to Soul, or did she sign up for exactly this?
because I keep flip-flopping. Sincere checks in about Soul, and Gabe, surprisingly insightful, tells him Soul isn't upset about the pie, she's upset about the whole situation. Then Gabe pulls Beatrice, because he was more hurt by her speech about Caleb than the kiss itself. Beatrice, in her interview, is basically asking what exactly he's upset about. And here's the thing I flagged last episode. Gabe feels a physical pull toward Jen, but the deeper emotional connection he has is with Beatrice, and he values that more. Beatrice pulls him again, tells him she values their relationship, and wants to know if his feelings are growing. His reaction in that moment told me everything. Beatrice is his number one, and I think he finally realized it himself. They make out, and Jen sees it. Lock that image in. It matters in about 90 seconds. Sincere, meanwhile, finally pulls Soul to the speakeasy. Melanie sees Sincere pulling Soul, and surprisingly, she seems okay with it. I think she's starting to feel bad for Soul, and that outweighed her jealousy for a moment. And for once, they actually talk without kissing. He steers the conversation to her music and her singing, and she lights up. Soul gets to a quiet realization. She doesn't see a future with Sincere because of his history with Melanie. She's starting to see the dead end. Smart girl. Zach pulls Jen, who admits the only person she's feeling right now is Gabe, because he's the only one showing interest. Remember that. We're about to find out the universe has a cruel sense of humor. Ariana walks in, and for the first time, she feels unwelcome, because everyone's faces look like they're at a funeral. They know. The big reveal. The vote was for who the 3 newest bombshells, Soul, Caleb, and Jen, should couple up with, which means 3 existing couples are about to get torn apart. Melanie clocks it instantly and says it best. We're fudged. Caleb is first. America wants him with Kenzie. She's happy. Corbin has to physically slide over and give up his spot, and it is brutal to watch. He says he cares about Kenzie and wants the best for her, which is heartbreakingly mature. Jen is next. America wants her with Gabe. So Jen, terrified, has to go sit between Gabe and Beatrice, the literal couple who just reconciled 2 minutes ago. The timing is diabolical. Gabe says if America thinks it'll work, let's see. But everyone is stunned. Soul is next, and we already know. America picks Sincere. America, you are messy, and I love you for it. Honestly though, after watching Soul's breakdown today, I wanted her free of that toxic dynamic, not handed back into it. I genuinely believe if America had voted after seeing this episode, they would not have picked Sincere. Melanie says congrats to Soul, accepts it, and then quietly breaks down. She says she's happy the triangle is over. Is she though? Is she really? And then, the biggest bombshell of the night. 1 boy, 2 girls. Corbin has to save either Beatrice or Melanie. The other one goes home. Love Island, you are cruel. Corbin chooses Melanie because of their history, which means Beatrice, who did absolutely nothing to deserve this, is dumped from the island. And I am, to put it lightly, furious. She did not deserve this, not even a little.
Beatrice handles it with more grace than the entire villa combined. She tells everyone, don't cry, I'm not dying, I'm just going home single. She talks about the friendships she built and how the experience taught her to connect with people from all different backgrounds. Class. Pure class. Gabe pulls her for a final goodbye, and we watch him cry. Actually cry. The man who hides everything. Beatrice was the only person who could pull real emotion out of him, and now she's leaving. She says out of all the people in the world, the one guy she wants is the one on this island she can't have. Why am I tearing up over a dating show? Her parting advice to everyone, be respectful of each other. No more drama. And she tells Gabe, if it doesn't work out for him in here, he knows where to find her. Your 2 new Aftersun hosts are Sierra Miller, yes, the Summer House one, and Tefi Pessoa. And the format is genuinely upgraded. Instead of waiting a week to hear from a dumped islander after they have been media trained into a polished little statement, the Aftersun crew shows up at the hotel the morning after, hands them their phone, and films the raw reaction in real time. No filter, no edit, just a person discovering on camera that the entire country has opinions about them. So tonight we get Sean and Beatrice, fresh off their eliminations, seeing the outside world for the first time. The emotions are still hot, which is exactly what we want. Let's go. They hand Sean his phone, and the man has been completely cut off from public opinion, so he has no idea if the world loves him or hates him. He even says it out loud. He is scared to open his DMs in case the whole world hates him. The whole world does not hate him. He opens Instagram to 775 messages. High school crushes are sliding in. Women are calling themselves his future stepmom in the comments, unprompted. The energy is overwhelmingly, we love you, king.
And then he hits a voice memo from one of his homegirls. And her message starts warm and supportive, and then she says the thing. She tells him she cannot believe what the mayor said about him. And you watch his face change, heart straight to the stomach. Because Sean has no clue yet what is waiting for him. We're about to find out together. Comment below. If you got handed your phone after 2 weeks off the grid, are you opening those DMs immediately? Or are you throwing the phone in the ocean? Be honest. Okay, deep breath. This is the one. While Sean is scrolling, a headline pops up. The mayor of Bethlehem, J. William Reynolds, put out a public statement saying Sean resigned from the police department after the city spent thousands of taxpayer dollars on his training and academy education. He called it disappointing. He basically said he never thought he would see the day where reality show participation wins out over being a police officer. Sir, you are the mayor. You have a city to run, and you logged on to subtweet a man for going to find love in Fiji? Teffy did not hold back. She called it trifling as fudge, punishing a man publicly for making a personal decision about his own life and his own career trifling. And Sierra said, watching him turn that phone on, knowing this was waiting, she held her breath, because some of these islanders are so beloved, and the women online are so down bad in his comments. But this was a gut punch she did not see coming. But here is the detail that changes everything, and I need you to clock it with me. Sean did not quit. He says it plainly. He sat his department down, told them the truth about exactly where he was going, and asked for unpaid leave. The plan was always to come back and finish his contract. The department's answer was basically, "We're not sure we can hold the time for you, but are you going regardless?" And he said yes, because this was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. That is not resigning. That is being honest and taking a leave. Those are two completely different stories, and the mayor told the one that sounded worse. And then Sean drops the part that genuinely made my chest hurt. Right before he left, he and his partners were given awards. One for pulling a woman out of a burning building, one for talking a mentally ill man off of a roof. So he gets decorated for literally saving lives, and then weeks later, he gets publicly shamed by his own city's mayor. His words, "I just do not understand." Now here is where Sean becomes a better person than all of us. He refuses to drag the man back. He says he does not want to say anything bad, that things can get taken out of context, that everyone in the department already knew where he was going. On the mayor personally, he says he has met him, has no complaints. The guy seemed like a good dude, and who knows what pressures he is facing. He even hopes his partners still appreciate the work they did together. That is the high road. That is a paved, scenic, 4-lane high road, and Sean is doing the speed limit on it. And the redemption twist? His DMs filled up with people saying Sean was the cop who actually helped them. His sister jumped in the comments to defend him. The internet, for once, sided with the right person. Drop a comment. Was the mayor out of line, or do you see his point? Because I have a very strong opinion, and I want to know if I am alone in it. They let Sean call his mom. And listen, this broke the studio. Sierra admitted that even on her Prozac, her words, she was very real about it, she was still crying watching this. And honestly, same. His mom is gorgeous, first of all, and the way she immediately wrapped him up in pride instead of judgment got everybody. The best part, though, is the tea his mom drops. She tells him there was a whole connection right in front of him that he never even clocked. Her and the show let her see things about Aniya as a person that Sean never got to see. And she thinks the two of them have so much in common. So now, Sean's own mother is shipping him with Aniya. Mom is a real one and a certified member of the T-Circle. She also gently reminds him that before he ever left, he told her he had not made a solid friend connection out there and felt a little alone. So, when Sincere and Sean linked up, and considering Sincere lives near him back home, she calls it a win-win. Mom did not come to play. Now Sean sits down live with Sierra and Teffy, and the hosts run him through it. Did he cry when he got dumped? He got choked up, but did not cry. Has he watched the season? Fully caught up. And then the question we all wanted. Anyone who was different in person versus on screen? Sean says Gabriel got a bad rap and is actually super cool to talk to in person. Then comes the big one. Sean watches back, for the first time, the early moment where Beatriz called him having a kid a red flag. And here is the clarification that flips the entire premiere narrative. Sean says it is all a blur, and he is pretty sure she never actually told him that to his face. So all that early, the kid is a deal breaker drama, he was not even carrying it. He did not know.
Hold that thought, because Beatriz is going to add her side later, and it makes this even more interesting. The hosts keep going. What made you come on Love Island? His answer is peak Sean. When am I ever going to get an experience like this, where they put the prettiest women in the world in front of me and tell me to date them? Was there an internal battle about leaving your son? Yes, and it gutted him. He thought he might miss the kid's birthday, so he set up balloons and threw an early party before he left. The boy is 2. Any islander he wants to reach out to now? Aniya, hard. He could not stop gushing about her warmth, her energy, and the fact that her face card never declines. Mom called it, the hosts called it, and now Sean is calling it. Pin that for predictions. New format alert. The fan question round, sponsored by Quavo Tequila, where they pull the spiciest questions from the comments. Sean grabbed the whole kit and caboodle and went for it. Biggest gossip in the villa? Sean immediately outed himself. He admitted he was the one spilling, that he would tell people their business as a public service, and the hosts crowned him the bone collector. The man collects tea like a dog collects bones. Something viewers never got to see? 2 answers, both gold. 1. How genuinely close everyone is off camera. And 2, and this is the receipt I have been waiting for all season, the Bryce and Zach bromance is real. Off camera, no cameras rolling, the 2 of them are jokey, teasing each other nonstop. I have been carrying this bromance bit for weeks, and now I have an actual islander confirming it. Vindicated. If he had to steal someone's partner for a day? Casey's. Best style in the villa? Bryce, for the way he puts a fit together. Casey's. Undeniable, because the man will sit down and manually scissor a t-shirt into a crop top with a full vision in his head. For the girls, Trinity, who can wear the out of anything. Cheers to the future, Sean. Quavo, thank you for the vibe. Now it is Beatriz's turn, and her phone is having a full seizure. Notifications stacking on notifications. People from high school in her tags. Her Instagram has jumped to 97.7 thousand followers, and her reaction is perfect. That means people actually with me. They do, B. They do. She is genuinely processing that America's vote, not her fellow islanders, is what sent her home. And then her friends get her on the phone and bring up the thing the internet would not let go of, the rumors about her sexuality. People online kept insisting she is gay, and Beatriz shuts it down cleanly. She is a tomboy. Female athletes get shoved into that box constantly. She is tired of people slapping a label on her that she does not identify with, and she puts a bow on it. She loves men, thank you, let her live. The point lands. Stop assigning people identities they did not claim. B's friend also reveals that they were not feeling Gabe, but Beatriz, being her honest self, stood up for him, revealed how genuine and sweet he was with her in the villa. And this is exactly the same thing we saw as well. Even though her friends are dragging him, she stands up for her man and speaks very highly of him. And she got vulnerable about feeling left out with the girls sometimes, because they would bond over things like High School Musical songs. And Beatriz grew up with 2 brothers and can name every Ninja Turtle, but not a single HSM track. Still, she made real friends in there, specifically Trinity and Kayda. When Beatriz sits down, the conversation gets real in a way Love Island rarely earns. The hosts ask about Gabriel. Unfinished business? She would never want him to cut his experience short. But yes, she wishes the outcome had been different, because she believes they had a genuinely strong connection. Would she date him outside the villa? 100%. He is fine, he is genuine, he studies computer science, he speaks 3 languages, and she lights up talking about him. She also makes one thing very clear for the record. She behaved in there. Her words, cleaned up slightly. She did not do anything on TV she would be embarrassed about. Then they go deeper. Does her representation matter? She admits she was terrified of being seen as the diversity hire, the token, but she has come around to embracing being the role model she never had as a kid. Imagine a little girl with a limb difference seeing Beatriz on her wall. That is the whole point. Is her confidence a strength or a defense mechanism? Both. She was not always confident. She has been through multiple childhood surgeries and physical therapy. She got bullied. She did not wear shorts in public until she was 17, because she spent most of her life trying to hide a part of herself. Her first sport was soccer, except her leg would literally fly off mid-game, so they had to find the right fit. And it was only in the last couple of years, through the Paralympic community, that she started showing the medal on her prosthetic instead of covering it with a skin-colored shell. Oh, and the medals. 1 Paralympic bronze, 2 World Championship golds, Pan American medals, Junior World Championships. She is training again after this. This woman is not a contestant. She is a decorated international athlete who happened to also go on Love Island. On tapping into feminine energy in the villa, she says she has never worn that many dresses in her life, and you can tell it was a genuine stretch for her.
And on the Melanie of it all, looking back, was she right or wrong? Beatrice does not flinch. She was right. She said what she said and she meant it. Iconic, frankly. Comment below. Beatrice for a future All-Star season, yes or no? Because I already know my answer. They bring Sean back out and put the former couple side by side for the first time since the villa. And it is equal parts sweet and awkward in the best way. And now we get Beatrice's half of the kid clarification, which completes the picture from earlier. She admits her gut first reaction really was the now infamous, "I did not beat teen pregnancy just to be a stepmom" line. But she reframes the whole thing. She never actually brought the kid up to Sean directly because she was willing to give everyone an honest shot. And her real feeling was that if she fell for him, who cares if he has a kid? So put the two halves together. She had a private first reaction. Sean never knew about it. And by the end, she did not even consider it a deal breaker. The premiere narrative we all ran with was only ever half the story. Then Sean uses his closing moment to clear his name on a clip going around. When Beatrice would pull people away from him, he would joke, "Bring them back in one piece," because she is feisty. And people online tried to spin it as him mocking her. He explains it was a mutual inside joke, and she would fire the exact same energy right back, so there was zero foul play. Beatrice backs him fully. They are good. As he puts it, that is just his ex talking now. And no, they do not even have each other's numbers yet.
His parting message
is the soft landing the whole episode needed. Everyone in that villa is human, making mistakes on a massive platform. So show them some grace. Beautiful. Frame it. Before they let the pair go, the hosts pull hot takes, and our exes deliver. Beatrice comes in swinging. Her real take, not even a hot one in her eyes. Melanie was doing too much in that challenge. And she will not back down from the 5'11" versus 6'2" moment either. The bit where Melanie acted like she could not tell a 5'11" man from a 6'2" one. Beatrice says that one is genuinely hard to defend. Receipts served. Then the couples talk. Which pairs are we questioning? Sean raises his hand for Bryce and Trinity, because from where he sat, that last conversation felt shaky. But Beatrice, who became close with Trinity in the villa, immediately sets the record straight. Trinity really likes Bryce. She is not looking at anybody else, and Trinity has told her directly that Bryce is her number one and her only one. If it does not work with him, Trinity is not interested in anybody else. So Sean is questioning it, and Beatrice is confirming it is real. I am inclined to trust the best friend on this one. Quick one, because the hosts revealing themselves is half the fun of this new format. Teffy says the islander she relates to most is Melanie, because she sees a younger version of herself in her, someone who acts instead of reacts, and needs to learn it is okay to put herself first. Sierra says she sees herself in Aniya, the one who pledges allegiance to a person before they have fully earned it. And Sierra also related hard to Beatrice's tough exterior, the whole "everyone thinks nothing hurts me" armor, even while admitting she herself is a total crybaby. And the spiciest host confession of the night, Sierra said she has, unfortunately, dated on reality TV before, and she does not recommend it. If you know, you know. That is the Wes Wilson and Summerhouse of it all. And if you want that entire saga unpacked, I have a whole breakdown waiting for you in my Scamanda Explained video. Go watch it after this. It is a journey. She also gave a take I loved. She lives for the interracial and intercultural connections on this cast, because to her, that mix is the actual crux of America. Real people, real jobs, real backgrounds, not 10 influencers trying to open a boutique.
We open on Gabe catching up with Jen, his new partner. And Jen feels bad. And Gabe, my guy, is in his feelings. He is devastated. He cried over Beatrice, apparently, because he actually liked her. And according to the other guys, he was not faking that one, but he says he is going to try to make it work. Now, I need to remind you that Sean said in his Aftersun interview the other day that Gabe gets a bad rap. And you know what? I think that is true. The boy may be a playboy, but he is more layered than the internet wants to give him credit for. Jen admits she is not the most emotional person, and Gabe says he is not either, but his conversation with Beatrice pulled it out of him. And in her interview, Jen is genuinely sweet about it. She says she is really sad, especially sad for him, but on the other hand, she is happy that she is finally coupled up. And that is what she came here for. Honest, self-aware, I respect it.
But save that warm, fuzzy feeling, because what these two say to each other later in the episode is going to complicate everything, and I will get to it.
Next up, Kenzie and Caleb catch up, and Kenzie also feels bad for Gabe, because at this point, sympathy for Gabe is the villa's unofficial group activity. Caleb asks how she feels about the vote, and Kenzie says she is happy that America hooked her up with a guy more her type. She literally said she had been asking for a cowboy guy to come in, someone who talks like her and knows the places she knows. Caleb is from Charleston, North Carolina, so on paper, this is exactly the order she put in. There is just one little asterisk. She says the only thing holding her back is that she has never dated a younger guy, and she calls it a yellow flag, not a red one. He is 2 years younger. She is 24, he turns 22 in November. They bond over swing dancing and a big friend group in Charleston, and it is all very cute. But here is what is wild. In the back of Kenzie's mind, the cowboy is not the headline. The headline is that she still has lingering feelings for Corbin. And trust me, that little detail is about to become the entire plot of this episode, so file it away. Drop a comment right now. Do you think America wasted this vote, or is there still hope for the cowboy? Because I have a prediction on this one, and it is not optimistic. If your name is Soul and you finally tied down your man, there is only one place to go, and that is Soul Ties. Poetic. The producers wrote that one themselves and were very proud. Soul asks Sincere how he is feeling, and he insincerely tells her he feels great, that the chemistry they have had has been, and I quote his energy, fudging great. Soul, on the other hand, says she feels like she is walking on eggshells, then immediately laughs it off with a, just kidding. But you can see it. The girl seems a little relieved that they are officially a couple. For the first time, Soul actually looks relaxed and happy. Hold on to that image, because the villa is not going to let it last. Meanwhile, Melanie and Corbin catch up in the speakeasy, and Melanie opens with the energy of a woman holding herself together with tape. She says it is insane, her stomach hurts, she wants to throw up. Relatable. Corbin says he feels like America put him in a shoot position. And Melanie, bless her, immediately pivots into salesperson mode. She tells him she does not see it that way, that this is how it was supposed to play out, that they have been giving each other googly eyes anyway, so it is a blessing in disguise that released them from each other. Then comes the introduction nobody saw coming. Melanie is Dominican, and Corbin, he tells her he is Blasian, Black, Asian, and Jamaican. Melanie's entire face goes, what? And listen, so did mine. Did not have that on the bingo card. Here is the part that gets me though. In her interview, Melanie keeps trying to convince herself this is a blessing in disguise, and she is doing an absolutely terrible job of convincing me. The lady doth protest too much, and the lady is protesting at full volume. Sincere has a quick chat with his bestie Aniya, and he drops the line that explains his entire vibe. He says he wanted it to be Melanie so bad. So just to be crystal clear, the man America paired with Soul is openly telling people he is pining for the girl who is now sleeping outside. The forecast for this couple is cloudy, with a 100% chance of disaster. Then Soul and Melanie have a chat, and honestly, it is more mature than anything the men in this villa have managed all season. Soul feels bad and says she did not want them to beef. Melanie agrees, and she is just honest that she really likes Sincere, so this is hard. And then Melanie asks the question. She asks Soul if they kissed again today, after Sincere said he would not, and Soul confirms they did. Sincere told Melanie he would not kiss Soul anymore. Sincere kissed Soul anyway. Sincere is going to be a recurring theme in this episode, and the theme is, do not believe a word. Melanie pulls Corbin aside and tells him she is overwhelmed and does not want to sleep in the room, so she is going to sleep in Soul Ties instead, which is, and I cannot stress this enough, the exact location where Soul and Sincere were just sharing kisses. So I sincerely hope that does not keep her up at night. The irony in this villa pays no rent and shows up uninvited. Now this is the moment I told you to watch for in the intro. Soul and Sincere, plus Kenzie and Caleb, share a bed for the first time and get to know each other. Sweet. Normal. Then we get to Zach and Kayda, and the vibe shifts. Kayda goes to kiss Zach, and Zach, fresh off witnessing tonight's emotional decoupling, is feeling insecure. So he asks her a hypothetical. What happens if someone comes between them? He says he feels so locked in that he would be screwed. Kayda tells him she would not say never, but she does not think that is going to happen for her personally. And Zach says, yeah, that is why you do not want to do too much. Now, is that a warning? I genuinely had a hard time decoding this one. I read it as Zach being insecure after what he watched tonight. I think he is quietly worried he is not explored enough, while also knowing full well there is nobody in this villa he wants more than Kayda. Kayda tries to reassure him, but she seems a little annoyed by the insecurity, and fairly so, because she has not done a single thing to earn it. Kayda then debriefs with Trinity, and she clarifies what the conversation was actually about. It was Zach asking whether they should hold off on doing everything, like doing the deed, in case down the line, one of them ends up with someone else after they have already done the deed. So keep that in your back pocket, because this exact question becomes extremely relevant later. And here is the kicker. Kayda literally just curbed Bryce a few hours ago. This woman is loyal, and she is getting interrogated about contraception logic. Let me know in the comments if you think I am totally off base on this read. I need the village's input. But the bombshell coming up in the morning makes this look tame, so stay with me.
Morning in the villa. The girlies join Melanie and Soul Ties to comfort her, and Melanie is done holding it in. She finally says he is everything but his name. He is not sincere. He told her he would not kiss Soul, then did it. The wordplay writes itself, and Melanie knows it. Over on the boy side, KC tells Corbin that Melanie is doing it for attention, and then he serves the line of the morning about Sincere. He says Sincere gives a little bit of a fudge, but he does not really give a fudge. KC, you are a poet, and you do not even know it. The girlies get their breakfast, get ready, and then Sincere walks Soul her breakfast plate like a doting boyfriend, and Melanie could not bear to watch it, so she leaves the room. The breakfast platter has become a weapon in this villa, and I am here for the warfare. Trinity has a catch-up with Bryce. Bryce asks how she is feeling, and she talks about Sincere, who just keeps lying. She says he claims he did not want to pair with Soul, but he is lying and playing with people's feelings. Bryce, ever the optimist with a vested interest, says he actually thinks this is the best outcome, because Melanie gets something fresh, and he and Trinity get to just keep doing what they are doing. Trinity tells him she really appreciated how he comforted her yesterday, that it meant a lot. For now, these two seem back to stable. Let us see how long that holds, because stable on this island has the shelf life of warm milk. Aniya catches up with Melanie about Corbin. Melanie says they are taking it slow. They have not kissed, but she is excited. She says she's going to pull Kenzie later so she can feel comfortable about it. And then Melanie, still butthurt about Sincere, delivers the closing argument. She says she needs to find Melanie again because she kind of lost herself in here. And in her interview, she says she would not even trust him to tell her the sky is blue anymore. Sure, Melanie. Sure. KC pulls Soul for a chat to make sure she is okay after yesterday's emotional roller coaster. And this is where I started getting a bad feeling in my stomach. Soul reveals that since nobody was open to talking to her, she just went for Sincere because he was the only one approaching her. She tells KC she was actually interested in talking to him. And KC, in a move I can only describe as a man tiptoeing toward a landmine, says it would take a lot to pull him away from Aniya, that it is basically a closed door. But then he keeps talking. He admits he was interested when he first saw Soul, but never shot his shot because Sincere was the only one playing his game on her, so he just stepped back. KC says everything happened for a reason, but something about this chat cracked a door open that should have stayed shut, and that look he gives at the end did not sit right with me. Remember this conversation. It is the seed of the whole back half. Corbin catches up with Kenzie, and she feels awkward. Corbin opens with a line about how they got dealt their cards, and now they just have to play them. It is hard for Kenzie, because the feelings she had for Corbin were real, which makes it nearly impossible to zone in on Caleb. She says everything she said to Corbin was true. Then Corbin, who I am convinced is physically incapable of not kissing people, tries to get a kiss. Kenzie rejects him and says he needs to give it all to his couple. But the flirting does not stop. She says she only rejected him because he was going for the cheek, which, I am sorry, is the most say less rejection I have ever heard. So they take it somewhere more private. They go to Soul Ties, and Caleb sees them go. Corbin and Kenzie are not over. Corbin cannot help himself, and they fully make out in Soul Ties. Meanwhile, Caleb is cool as a whistle, telling everyone he is not worried about it. Sir, you should be at least mildly worried. In his interview, Corbin lays it out honestly. He says he is in a weird space. He does not want to disrespect Melanie, but the chemistry, the connection, the conversation, the energy, the vibe with Kenzie is there and already established. So I guess that whole "I want a cowboy" thing did not mean much after all. The cowboy got outdrawn by a videographer with a kissing problem. Melanie catches up with Kenzie, and Kenzie is not feeling good. She has really strong feelings for Corbin, so it is hard. Melanie says she is choosing to have a better day today,
and explains that being in bed next to Corbin and watching Sincere lie next to Soul would have been too much all at once. Fair. Kenzie says she has never dated a friend's ex, so this is uncharted, off-limits territory for her. And then Melanie does something the internet does not want to give her credit for. She tells Kenzie she knows it is hard, and that she cannot pursue Corbin until Kenzie gives her a green flag. And Kenzie, reluctantly, gives it. She says she has the green flag. It just hurts. They end the chat with, "I love you both ways." Now, Melanie is getting buckets of hate online lately, but nobody can sit here and tell me she is not a girl's girl. She asked permission. She waited for the green flag. That is more emotional maturity than 3 of these men combined. In my opinion, she is the realest girl's girl in the building, and I will not be taking questions at this time.
Zach and Kayda catch up in soul ties, and Kayda is irked from yesterday's bed conversation. She is worried that he is waiting for someone else, and tells him that when he said he did not want to do too much, it made her think he is keeping a door open. Zach insists he does not see himself getting turned by anyone new, that he is not even thinking about anyone else, and could not see someone coming in and changing his mind. He swears he was just thinking out loud and worrying about nothing. Zach, my guy, be careful what you say out loud, because these producers will use it against you and hunt for a wedge between you and Kayda. They end on a happy note, but you know full well the production team just bookmarked that clip. They end happy, but happy is bait on this show. Jen catches up with Gabe and shows him her stingray bite. She got 8 stitches from it. These two are both from Florida, so they have that instant home state connection, trading stories about Miami being clean and walking into oceans they cannot see the bottom of. Gabe asks if she is okay with PDA, and Jen says she does not care. And then she says something that should sound familiar. She says when she is with Gabe, she feels like she can be herself because he lets her be how she wants to be. That is almost word for word what Beatrice said about him. So whatever Gabe is doing, it works on the Florida girls. He gets a bad rap, but the girlies genuinely like him. But hold that thought, because Jen says one specific thing to Gabe later tonight that gets under his skin in a way he did not expect. Then we cut to Casey and Aniya having a chat about, of all things, dry spells. Aniya says the last time she had the S word was a year ago. Casey, never one to be outdone, says his was on his birthday, but he went 7 months before that. Riveting television, truly. And right on cue, the producers interrupt with a text.
Today's challenge is soccer-themed to match the opening of the World Cup, hosted by Frederick Oldenburg. Kayda has high school soccer experience, played defense, and is feeling confident. And Zach, with his whole European chest puffed out, tries to correct the Americans that it is football, not soccer. Shut up, Zach. This is Love Island, USA. Over on this side of the pond, it is soccer, and you are contractually obligated to say it, which the show literally jokes about. The challenge has the couples pair up to move a soccer ball without their hands, eat a sausage without their hands, and then collect some random green slime. I have no idea what any of this has to do with soccer. At this point, I think the producers ran out of good ideas and decided messy slime equals entertainment. Fudge the game, basically. The only part that matters is the questions. Let us run them. Bryce and Trinity are up first. The question: which person is carrying their couple? They pick Caleb, which made 0 sense to me as a question, so let us keep it moving. What I will say is Bryce has clearly turned up the heat with Trinity, and there is a whole shower situation between them that the villa noticed. Kenzie and Caleb are next. The question: which player is fumbling the ball? Caleb picks Gabe, explaining that he is choosing someone who may have somebody in the back of their mind they have not let go of, so they cannot fully commit. Gabe is not too mad about it. Meanwhile, Caleb and Kenzie make out in the shower portion, and Corbin watches on, weirdly aroused. The math on that man's emotions is not mathing. Casey and Aniya are up. The question: which players are secretly scouting other options? Casey picks Corbin with a comment about someone's eyes being a little too big. Foreshadowing your own storyline, Casey. Bold. Melanie and Corbin are next, and it is the first time Melanie has full permission to do too much, and she did not disappoint. This time, it was acceptable. The question: who is the most overrated player? Of course, Corbin picks Sincere. When asked why, the energy was basically revenge, but for the plot. Iconic. Zach and Kayda are next, and the only true revelation here is that Zach has an enormous tongue. Kayda kept teasing him with the hot dog specifically to make him show it off, which is a level of investigation I deeply respect. The question: which player is acting like they already won the league? Zach picks the one playing it too safe and goes with KC. Uh-oh. The host asks Zach to clarify, and he explains that when Soul came in, Casey showed a bit of interest but did not fully go for it. Aniya, sitting right there, gets visibly uncomfortable.
The producers saw that opening, and you already know they are going to mine it for everything. Gabe and Jen are up. The question: which player has been caught offside the most? They pick Sincere because he has been the sneakiest. Agreed. No notes, no arguments. Soul and Sincere are last. The question: which player is most likely to get booed by the fans? Sincere picks Bryce, and low-key, I kind of agree. Bryce is not a villain, he's just not that interesting. Sorry, Trinity, I still love you. Honestly, this challenge was nasty but weak at actually shifting any dynamics. It did help the new couples get friendlier, I will give it that. The only real mess it caused was between Aniya and KC, because the producers clocked Casey's interest in Soul and are about to milk it for everything it is worth.
The Islanders are back from the challenge, and Aniya is mad. Zach, Kayda, Bryce, and Trinity chat, and Kayda knows Aniya thinks Zach's pick was a dig at her, but the group insists it was not. Casey and Aniya chat, and Casey thinks they got picked because they are the most stable couple. But Aniya is stuck on Zach's explanation. She is worried it means Casey feels restricted. Casey assures her he is not going to force himself to explore something he does not actually want. Aniya says she does not want him to feel like she is limiting his experience. Hold that exact phrasing, because it comes back with a vengeance. Corbin and Melanie catch up, and the challenge clearly made them a little friendlier. Corbin does something genuinely respectable. He is honest with Melanie and tells her that in his last chat with Kenzie, they did kiss. Corbin may look like a fudge boy, but the man is honest. He is, dare I say it, more sincere than sincere. Caleb and Kenzie chat, and Caleb is honest too. He shares that he knows Kenzie and Corbin have a connection, but it felt uncomfortable watching Corbin lift her up. Kenzie matches his honesty. She tells him she did kiss Corbin in their chat and still wants to explore that, but she does still feel something for Caleb. Caleb says he is not going to tell her what to do, and they end the chat in a kiss. The maturity in this conversation is almost suspicious for this villa. At night, Melanie chats with Kayda and shares the cleanest summary of her situation yet. With Corbin, she feels calm, and with Sincere, she felt chaos. She describes the Sincere dynamic as a tennis match where you do something, I do something, back and forth forever. Trinity and Kayda have a chat, and Trinity asks how they feel about Gabe and Jen. They both feel the two do not match. But, as I keep saying, who are they to judge? Gabe and Jen chat, and Jen asks if Gabe would feel any other girl, and Gabe says he does not think so. Then Jen drops the line that gets him. She says Gabe is not physically her usual type, that she normally goes for the tattooed, super sexy guys, but she loves him for his personality, his caring, his confidence. And Gabe, who is used to being wanted for the surface level stuff, feels a type of way about it. He admits hearing he is not someone's type physically is one thing he is not used to. They start making out anyway. Across the villa, Kayda and Trinity feel for their girl Beatrice, who just left yesterday. They think Gabe is moving too fast right after B. But again, who are they to judge? I know B is their girl, but she is gone now. Is Gabe supposed to just not explore Jen? Comment below, is Gabe moving too fast, or is he doing exactly what Love Island is for? Melanie pulls Corbin for a chat and actually gets to know him. Corbin shares that he grew up with both parents, was a very creative kid with a giant art box, and once built a rocket ship out of a cardboard box. He says that creative side now plays into his work as a videographer, where he makes little movies. Melanie loves movies, so they click on it. Melanie tells him if he ever just wants to not talk and chill, that is cool too. She says she feels calmer with him, and they do what most couples actually do 90% of the time, which is just exist quietly next to each other. The power of being able to be calm and relaxed with a partner is more powerful than people think. It is not flashy, but it lasts.
Now we get to the spiral I have been warning you about. Aniya goes to talk to Zach and Kayda because of the challenge question. She shares that it was Zach's explanation specifically that hurt her feelings, and Zach apologizes for it. And while this is happening, Casey pulls Soul for a chat. The timing. Aniya wants to clarify the whole thing. She thought Zach called her the safe option. Zach explains that the actual question was, who feels like they already won? And he frames it like, Casey said he was initially attracted to Soul, but did not want to risk what he already has with Aniya when it is already good. Zach insists Casey never said Aniya was a settle. Aniya says she does not want Casey to feel like he cannot explore because of her. She is scared Casey might be telling her one thing and telling the guys another. Zach swears Casey does not do that, that what he says to her is exactly how he feels. Meanwhile, Casey and Sol are over there laughing about how gross the challenge was, with Casey doing his usual charming, goofy thing and making Sol laugh. Sol reveals it is not as tense now, since everyone is in a couple and there are no bombshells trying to break one up. She also says she was not feeling the energy from anyone and she is not going to chase it or beg for it. Casey tries to match that energy, saying he did not want to go too hard for her. He admits he was attracted, but it is scary to leave something that is already good. And Sol delivers the line of the night. She tells him it is not leaving, it is exploring. Aniya, for the record, feels confident, and she does not want to explore anyone herself. Then Aniya, Zach, and Kayda spot Sol talking to KC and mutter, "Great timing." Zach tries to console her, telling her not to stress. Sol, still talking to KC, says he is robbing himself of even finding out if they had a shot by not shooting it. And Casey's face in that moment? Worrying me deeply. My girl Sol is a firecracker. She is not doing anything wrong, she is just existing, but her whole aura is pulling these men in and causing drama at no fault of her own. And my boy KC is conflicted, but Sol's gravity is sucking him in hard.
Aniya interrupts the Sol and Casey chat and pulls Casey away. She asks why he is cheesing so hard, and Casey genuinely cannot help his weird faces, which only makes it worse. He asks her to hold his hand, and she is not having it. Off to the side, Zach and Kayda chat, and Zach feels bad because he keeps making people upset in these challenges by being too honest. Zach cannot tell a lie. He says it how he sees it, and he feels terrible about the collateral damage. But real talk, we need someone like him in here, especially now that Beatrice is gone. Then Aniya wants the serious conversation. She tells KC she does not want to feel like a safe option, that it makes her feel really bad. And she calls him out for saying he did not pursue Sol because of Sincere. Casey pushes back hard. He says she is confusing first option with safe option, that she is not his safe option, she is his first option. In his interview, he is genuinely baffled, basically saying he has been nothing but good to her and has not given her a single reason to stress. But the damage is done. Casey says he feels an energy shift, and they end the conversation awkwardly. Trinity asks Zach how it went, and Zach feels awful, like he caused World War III between them. One challenge question. That is all it took. Comment your verdict. Did Aniya overreact, or did Casey's wording genuinely deserve the smoke? And then, right as the tension peaks, Kayda gets a text. The hideaway is open, and they have to choose one couple to spend the night together. The Islanders immediately, and I mean instantly, shout Zach and Kayda, already decided. The generosity in this villa is overwhelming, truly. And the bed conversation these two had earlier, the whole "I do not want to do too much" thing, is about to get tested in the most direct way possible. These producers are messy artists. Zach's first words to Kayda are "please do not dominate me." Kayda is thrilled to finally break Zach's seal, and Zach seems, accurately, terrified. He admits he is scared he is going to arrive early to the situation. Sir, the vulnerability, the honesty. We respect it, and we are also laughing. Then Bryce and Zach have a hilarious training montage to prep him for the night, which is the most heterosexual-coded act of male friendship I have ever witnessed. Kayda, meanwhile, is just thrilled that Zach will not be distracted by Bryce anymore. The Islanders prepare a whole dance choreography to send the two off, and it is adorable, and it culminates in what can only be described as a clap them cheeks dance. These guys are not shy. Tomorrow's preview shows that Corbin and Kenzie are definitely not over, because of course they are not. And as for Zach and Kayda, they get wild. Quick recap of where we left things. Zach and Kayda went off to the hideaway. Kenzie cannot seem to let go of Corbin, and there is trouble brewing between Casey and Aniya. The previews already showed Kenzie kissing Corbin, so I walked into this episode knowing it was going to be a feast. Now remember, last episode, Zach was worried that him and Kayda doing the deed might become a problem if they ever ended up with other people down the line. Zach showing insecurities is genuinely surprising because their connection looks like one of the most rock-solid things in the villa. And you know the producers saw that flicker of doubt and immediately handed them the hideaway, way earlier than expected. These producers do not miss an opening. Hold that thought, because Zach's anxious little brain produces one more gem before the night is over.
Aniya goes to Trinity to unpack the whole KC situation, because she still feels like he treats her as the safe option. And here is the part that gets me. Casey already assured her, more than once, that she is his first option. and it did not move the needle at all. She still tells Trinity that Casey made her feel like a safe option, like he is falling back on her. Trinity, to her credit, tries to talk her off the ledge. She says not to take it so seriously because Casey clearly prioritizes her, and if a man wants to pursue something else, he is going to do it regardless. She insists Casey is still a good guy and tells Aniya to sleep on it. Aniya sees Casey looking sad across the villa, calls him a little sad puppy, and feels bad. And right here, in the very first scene, you can see the entire problem with this couple. Aniya's words and Aniya's feelings are two different things, and that gap is going to widen all episode until it swallows them both. File that away. Kenzie goes to spend time with Corbin, which, as the narrator so kindly noted, is technically going behind her partner's back. Frowned upon in the villa, but apparently an advanced technique in the dancing world. They open with, I miss you too, and we are off. Corbin lays it out honestly. He is in a sticky situation because he cares for her a lot, they had this connection from the very beginning, and then they got ripped out of their couple. Now he is coupled with Melanie, but the elephant in the room is the great connection he still has with Kenzie. He says the ball is in her court because the connection is intense and he does not want to lose it. Translation, if Kenzie picks him, he chooses her on the spot, no hesitation. Then Caleb, her actual partner, clocks her sitting on Corbin's lap and he is irked. As he should be. Corbin asks how she feels seeing him with Melanie, and Kenzie admits it does not feel good. He asks if his presence is making her more reserved about pursuing Caleb, and she acknowledges that it is. And these two have an undeniable, almost annoying chemistry, which is exactly why these early connections matter so much. They build something you cannot fake, no matter how badly the audience wants them to stop.
Now, credit where it is due, Corbin warns her he is still going to explore Melanie. Kenzie says she knows, and that she will do the same with Caleb. Then, Kenzie insinuates she wants a kiss, but Corbin turns it down out of respect for Melanie. So they hug instead. And of course, Caleb sees the hug from across the way, two heads leaning into one, and assumes they kissed again. Here is where I have to start being honest about Kenzie. This girl is sitting on another man's lap, admitting the new man makes her reserved, fielding kiss attempts, all while a perfectly sweet cowboy waits at home thinking he has a real shot. The juggling act is wobbling, and she has not even told the truth yet. Caleb, processing the hug he just saw, tells the others he cannot be mad about it because Corbin and Kenzie had a connection first, before he was ever in the picture. In his interview, he admits he is not used to fighting another guy for a girl's attention. He wants Kenzie to forget Corbin and focus on him, and even calls himself a little selfish for it. He is not selfish, he is just a normal person watching his girl orbit someone else. Then Caleb does the thing that lights the fuse. He tells Melanie that Corbin and Kenzie kissed, which they did not. So now misinformation is racing through this villa at full speed, and the person about to catch the worst of it is, naturally, the one who did nothing. Comment below, was Caleb wrong to spread it, or did he genuinely believe what he saw? Meanwhile, Kayda and Zach are enjoying the Hideaway. They talk about how grateful they are that the Islanders picked them, and how strong their connection has been since the second she walked in. Kayda jokes that if she had not stood on that red dot, none of this would have happened. And Zach insists he was always going to stand on that dot. Then, less talking, more action. These two get right into it. The narrator described the aftermath as 9 hours of sterilization and chemical ablation, which is the funniest insult to two people's hygiene I have heard all season. After her chat with Corbin, Kenzie pulls Caleb. She asks how he is feeling, and he goes quiet. She tells him she and Corbin just had a good conversation, and that was it. He asks point blank if they kissed, and she says no. Caleb says then he is tripping. Now technically, this time she is telling the truth. They did not kiss in that particular chat, but the misinformation Caleb already spread to Melanie is out there doing damage. And you know Melanie is going to feel a way about it. So Kenzie gets to be honest in this one tiny moment, while the lie she did not even tell is already poisoning the well. At night, Melanie already looks like she is on the verge of tears. So I correctly predicted she was sleeping outside again. She skips the bed with Corbin for another night. The girl has her boundaries set in concrete, and she is not giving Corbin a single inch. Corbin and Melanie sleeping alone. So while Kenzie is over here enjoying both cakes, Melanie is left staring at an empty plate. And Kayda and Zach get to enjoy their wild first night together. But then, Zach, fresh off the best night of his villa life, looks at Kayda and asks, "Are you going to kill me if I explore a bombshell?" Kayda responds flatly, "Yeah." Zach goes, "Too soon?" And Kayda confirms, "Yeah, too soon. Sir, You just got out of the hideaway. Read the room that you are physically lying in. Never change, Zach, you absolute menace. Morning. Melanie is back in her feelings, and Aniya comes to console her. Melanie shares that Kenzie and Corbin kissed because the misinformation has now fully metastasized. Nasty stuff. Over in the kitchen, Jen shares that she and Gabe had a very good night, that the man loves to touch her, and she cannot help but like it. Some couples do not need a hideaway. They just need a shared bed and zero shame. Corbin learns how the misinformation spread, so he goes to Gabe and sets the record straight. Kenzie also tells Melanie directly that they did not kiss. Corbin makes Melanie breakfast. They hug, but it is clear she is not ready to open her heart back up yet. Smart girl, honestly. Casey, looking thoroughly down in the dumps, tries to pull Aniya for a chat, and she rejects him. She is playing the hard-to-get game, dodging him on purpose. Corbin comes to console him, and Casey opens up about why Aniya is upset. It is because he has started talking to Soul. Aniya feels like she is the second option, and that what Casey really wants is Soul. Casey says he told her that is not true at all, that he picks her every single day. Corbin shares his own mess, the sexual chemistry he has with Kenzie that he cannot ignore. And Casey, being honest, admits that he and Aniya have not built that same physical chemistry because Aniya has had her guard up in bed. Casey says she does not seem to understand that keeping that guard up is exactly the kind of thing that makes guys want to explore more. And the whole villa is about to pile on Casey. So sit with this. The man picked Aniya every time, has told her she is his first option repeatedly, says, "I love you," and he is still the one walking around looking like a kicked puppy. Bryce and Trinity talk about Caleb, calling him a cute, soft Southern belle in a boy version, which is sweet and also slightly devastating. Bryce thinks Kenzie is a loose cannon for exploring both Corbin and Caleb at once. And honestly, Bryce, broken clock, right twice a day. Trinity, being a good friend, tries to defend her girl. We will get back to Bryce later because he says something so transparently jealous about another man's body that he is never going to beat the allegations. Caleb and Kenzie chat, and Caleb shows a level of emotional maturity Kenzie does not deserve right now. He explains that he and Sincere saw the two of them leaning in, two heads becoming one, and mistook it for a kiss. He clarifies he was not actually mad, just engaged and watching, and that he understands she has to weigh her options. But he is honest that as a human being, it is still hard to watch. Then he says the most telling thing. Normally, in the real world, if he is talking to a girl and she starts talking about how much she misses another guy, he is out, gone, done. But here he is, choosing to stay and absorb it. He says he will stay out of Kenzie and Corbin's business, and if it does not work out for him, then it was not meant to be. They share a kiss to end the chat, and Kenzie, in her infinite wisdom, tells Caleb he should go explore other people too, which has less to do with Caleb's happiness and a lot more to do with taking the pressure off herself. If he is exploring, then she does not have to feel guilty about the cowboy she is slowly leaving on red. Now for the comic relief the villa desperately needed. The boys are working out, and Aniya announces that her show is on. The girls gather to watch and collectively decide Corbin's body is, quote, perfect. They are so committed, they grab beanbags to get closer, switching channels between Gabe and Corbin, but always returning to the Corbin show, their favorite channel. These women are unapologetically thirsty, and I am screaming. Melanie joins, and Trinity immediately starts pushing her to pursue Corbin harder, telling her to stop dwelling, because a man who looks that good should not be left alone at night. The peer pressure is coming from inside the house. Zach and Kayda return to the group, and the cast is thrilled for them. Kayda spills the tea to the girls, Zach spills to the guys. Kayda reveals they did not use any of the toys except the protection, and the girls start squealing. The guys hear the noise and immediately get the hint. Kenzie, watching all this, gets jealous and admits she has not had the S word in a year and a half. And then Bryce, bless his transparent heart, weirdly compliments Zach's arms and looks low-key jealous doing it. Bryce, my guy, you are never going to beat the allegations. Just embrace them at this point. Melanie pulls Caleb for a chat. They bond over the shared experience of having partners tangled up with someone else. They agree yesterday was a misunderstanding, and Melanie feels calmer now. Caleb admits he is conflicted about how long he is supposed to let Kenzie explore, saying he cannot just keep her in his back pocket just in case. Melanie tells him it is completely fair to ask Kenzie how long he has to wait, and explains that this exact indecisiveness is why she is not sleeping in the room with Corbin. Then Caleb asks Melanie directly if she still has feelings for Sincere. And Melanie, to her credit, is honest. She says she still has feelings, but will not pursue them. That there is nothing she is going to do about it. Remember that line, because later tonight, Melanie's actions are going to have a very different opinion than Melanie's words. Kenzie talks with Jen and shares that she wanted to kiss Corbin, but he wanted to respect Melanie. Jen, cutting straight to it, asks what couple Corbin is even respecting, since Melanie will not even sleep in the same bed as him. They both end up confused about whether Melanie is holding back because of Sincere or for some other reason entirely. She says nobody actually knows what Melanie wants, whether she is still pursuing Sincere or not, and that this uncertainty is creating chaos and confusing everyone around her. Jen thinks Kenzie is getting the worst of it. Kenzie shares that she is trying to be open and honest with Caleb and feels bad that he only has eggs in her basket. So she keeps telling him to explore more, which, again, conveniently takes the pressure off her own conscience. In her interview, Kenzie says she is sick of the whispering and gossip about what is allowed, and that everyone should be exploring freely. And on that one specific point, I actually agree with her. The villa has turned into a courtroom about who is allowed to kiss whom. Corbin pulls Melanie to address the misunderstanding head-on, and he is honest. He tells her Kenzie wanted the kiss, that he wanted to give it, but out of respect for Melanie, he denied it. Then he admits the frustrating part. He did all that, and Melanie still would not sleep with him. So he was left wondering what he was even doing. He is honest that he does still have feelings for Kenzie, but reminds her he picked her at the fire pit for a reason, because he liked her. He asks if the no sleeping in the bed situation is going to keep going, and Melanie finally tells him she will sleep in the bed tonight. In her interview, Melanie all but writes Corbin a thank you card for being honest, clearly comparing him to a certain someone whose name is the opposite of his personality. She confirms she will be in the bed tonight. Cosmic foreshadowing, given how this episode actually ends, but we will get there. Soul, Sincere, Bryce, and Trinity play Never Have I Ever. Soul's first question is whether anyone has given a foot rub of the more intimate variety, and Trinity confirms that she has. Bryce is genuinely surprised. My girl Trinity has lived a life, and I respect the range. Aniya talks to Melanie about KC, and the core complaint finally comes into focus. She says KC jokes around too much, that it is hard to have a genuine conversation because he laughs in her face when she is trying to be serious. She just wants him serious sometimes. And this is a great line. She says this is not Disney Channel, that sometimes she just wants to feel heard for 5 minutes. Aniya wonders aloud if she is being overdramatic, and Melanie, in classic supportive friend fashion, validates her completely. Aniya also admits she knows KC wants to be more physical, and she is frustrated because she wants to take it slow. She wants to be the only option, the number one option, which, again, is the exact thing KC has already told her she is. In her interview, Aniya reveals she has been avoiding KC all day on purpose to give him time to think and take her more seriously. KC, meanwhile, looks like a sad puppy dog, and even Melanie ends up begging Aniya to go talk to him. When Melanie is telling you that you are breaking a man's heart, you might want to listen. Nighttime. KC complains that he is getting punished for not exploring, and then he delivers the line of the night. Maybe he should be from Brazil so he could get away with it. Gabe cracks up. I am not going to lie, that one got me too. The man has a point and a sense of humor about his own suffering. The couples gather at night for their drinks, and Kayda and Zach thank everyone again for putting them in the hideaway. Now here is where my second problem child enters the chat. Sincere and Soul have a conversation, and Sincere says he feels guilty about not talking to Melanie about how everything went down. So he says he is going to pull Melanie just to talk it through. Soul says she thinks they owe that to each other. Sincere raises a toast to honesty, longevity, and growth. And I cannot take a single word of it seriously yet. Because we all know what just talking about how things went down means when it comes from a man who has lied at every turn. This is not closure. This is reconnaissance. Watch. Kenzie complains to Jen that Corbin not kissing her is making her pissed because he is out here protecting Melanie's feelings. And there is your tell. The resentment is not about Caleb at all. It is about not getting more of Corbin. She clearly likes Corbin more. Full stop. And she is very transparently trying to keep both. KC pulls Aniya and tells her he is upset. He understands she does not like how giggly he is, and he tries to explain that the giggly thing is just who he is. He is honest that he is hurt by how she has been treating him all day, and that he does not know how he is supposed to change. Aniya clarifies that she actually likes joking with him, she just wants him to be serious when she specifically asks for it, not to overhaul his entire personality, which she says she loves. So far, fair on both sides. Then Casey names what really stung. He says he was pissed when Aniya told him he was just with her to coast through another week. He calls it disrespectful, and he is right. Aniya circles back to not feeling like the first option, and Casey finally lays out the receipts. He reminds her that during their first coupling, she did not pick him first, but ever since that day, he has chosen her every single time. Aniya gets confused about how this conversation somehow spun around to be about her. In his interview, Casey says he does not feel good that Aniya cannot seem to understand where he is coming from. Aniya, again, insists she does not want to limit him and actively encourages him to go have a conversation with Soul. But the way she is treating him is the exact thing that pushes a man toward exploring in the first place. She leaves the conversation unresolved, walking away, and Casey is left disappointed. This is the hardest couple to watch right now, because what is coming out of Aniya's mouth is the complete opposite of what is happening in her chest, and you can see it on her face the whole time. She says she wants him to explore so she does not feel like she's holding anyone back, and then treats him like he already betrayed her for considering it. Drop your verdict in the comments. Is Aniya self-sabotaging? Or is Casey genuinely not getting it?
Kayda catches up with Gabe and Trinity, and this combo is a little unusual. They check in on his relationship with Jen, and I am fairly sure it is a low-key fact-finding mission for their absent friend Beatrice. Kayda basically asks Gabe whether, if Beatrice were still here, he would still be exploring Jen. I genuinely do not know why they are cross-examining this man about a hypothetical. They ask if he sees himself walking out of the villa with Jen, and Gabe says, yes, that he is happy with her. Kayda and Trinity put on a happy face for him, but I think they still feel away on behalf of their bestie. Gabe, for what it is worth, handles the interrogation like a gentleman. Jen and Kenzie pull Soul for a tea session. Soul asks about Kenzie and Caleb, and Kenzie is still, shockingly, confused. Soul and Jen tell her plainly that Caleb is all in on her. Soul explains that Caleb is putting up a guard precisely because he does not know if Kenzie is 100% into him, but that he clearly does not have eyes for anyone else. Soul shares that things are going well with her and Sincere, that he makes her nervous system calm down. And the show cuts, with exquisite timing, directly to Sincere pulling Melanie. Because, of course it does. Sincere takes Melanie to the speakeasy, because that man treats the speakeasy like his personal office. He says he wanted to see how she is feeling, since they have not had a chance to chat. He says he does not want to treat her like a stranger, that he does not want to just sweep what they had under the rug and forget about it. Then he says he knows he, in his words, fudged up, but that he never wanted to close the door with her, and that he stayed away out of respect for his new couple. Melanie shares that she still has not kissed Corbin outside of challenges, and Sincere says that staying away from her is hard, even if it does not look like it. And then Melanie, surprisingly honest with herself, admits she still thinks about Sincere too. Now back in the gossip circle, Jen drops a genuinely wise warning. She tells Soul to be careful, because Sincere switched up on Melanie so fast. Excellent instincts, Jen. Kenzie, meanwhile, tries to suggest that the drama with Melanie may have had Sincere feeling down a lot. And no, Kenzie, I am not co-signing that one. That man has been feeling fine. Back in the speakeasy, Melanie asks Sincere how he feels about Soul, and Sincere does his little dance, downplaying everything while sliding in that he misses her. This man is actively making me angry. In her interview, Melanie admits she likes how Sincere makes her feel, and says that if he is being sincere, he will find a way to fix or grow the connection they once had. He tells her he misses hearing her voice, and I am sorry, I am officially sick of these two. They have disappointed me, and I am breaking up with both of them. Melanie asks for a hug, and they end on a hug. So, let me be crystal clear about Sincere, since I promised you the smoke. This is a man who is officially coupled with Soul, who just toasted to honesty an hour ago, sitting in a dark room telling his ex he misses her voice and never wanted to close the door. That is not respect. That is keeping a spare key. And now, the ending the previews promised. Corbin pulls Kenzie for a chat, this time right in front of Caleb. Because apparently, sneaking around got old. Jen is surprised to see Corbin make his move, and when Caleb maturely tells her Kenzie needs to explore and figure things out, Jen seems low-key impressed, telling Caleb, "Aw, talk to me more," basically giving him a green light to explore her instead. At least someone is shooting their shot cleanly tonight. Kenzie immediately complains to Corbin that he does not give her attention throughout the day. Corbin, surprisingly, pulls her into the bedrooms. She keeps pushing, upset that he is choosing Melanie over her, saying he is not giving her signs that he likes her. She looks around, all but begging for a kiss, then gaslights him with the line, You're right where you want to be. Corbin admits his feelings for Kenzie are still there, but the situation has him genuinely confused about how to move. And then, after all the back and forth, he caves. He kisses her, and Kenzie is finally happy. The producers drop I Think We're Alone Now on the soundtrack, the pettiest, most perfect needle drop imaginable. Kenzie gushes that she loves kissing him, and in her interview says, plainly, that Corbin makes her, in her words, horny as fudge, and she cannot help herself. She tells him they should keep it a secret. He says, fudge the repercussions, and just keeps kissing her. And here is the gut punch. This all happens on the very night Melanie finally agreed to share the bed with him. While Corbin is in the back room kissing Kenzie, Caleb is in another corner telling Gabe how honest and open Kenzie is with him. It genuinely breaks my heart for the cowboy. He is bragging about her honesty in the same breath she is asking another man to keep a secret.
All right, here is where I lay it all out. At this point, Kenzie just needs to be honest with Caleb and admit she is feeling Corbin more. Both she and Corbin need to come clean to their partners and find a way to get coupled back up, because she is very clearly leaning his way. Sorry, Caleb. You deserved a straighter answer than you have been getting. I am genuinely starting to feel bad for Melanie. Yes, she did too much earlier in the season, but lately she is just catching L after L after L. The girl cannot buy a win right now. I also think Caleb being a gentleman throughout his entire run is eventually going to attract other people. I want a bombshell who is perfect for him to walk in, because the villa is letting this man go to waste. He is playing it safe, but in my opinion, at this exact moment, Kenzie does not deserve him. Aniya's insecurities are going to come back to bite her, I fear. The second the producers saw those insecurities surface, you know they are going to keep testing that couple relentlessly. And Casey might actually reach his breaking point, which would be a shame because Casey has not done a single thing wrong this entire time. I am honestly getting a little tired watching him get punished for being a good guy. So a few nights ago, America reached into this villa, shuffled the whole deck, and walked away feeling very proud of itself. Tonight, the Islanders finally get a chance to respond, and the way they respond? Let us just say somebody in that production booth is grinning ear to ear, because the format they cooked up for tonight is built to drag the truth out of every single person in this house, whether they are ready for it or not. Here is the only setup you need. The last time America voted, it scrambled this villa, snapped couples apart, and lit half the drama we are still cleaning up. Tonight is the recalibration. This recoupling is not in America's hands. It is in the Islanders' own. Every single one of them has to put their actual feelings down on paper, in their own handwriting, and read them out loud in front of everyone. No deleting, no walking it back, no hiding behind a giggle. And when feelings get forced into writing like that, people find out things about where they really stand that they were not ready to know. I am telling you right now, at least one person in this villa is sitting on a secret that does not survive the night. At least one mailbox is going to hold something nobody in that garden saw coming. And the person who has spent this entire season being the least honest human in Fiji is about to be put in the exact position he cannot smooth talk his way out of. I had to sit back in my chair more than once. And stay with me all the way to the end, because the final moment of this episode lands completely differently from everything before it, and it puts the whole night in a different light. Two people in particular are going to test every nerve I have. One is juggling far more than she can hold. The other keeps reaching for a door he swore up and down he had closed. We are getting into all of it. Before we dive into this beautifully messy decoupling, smash that subscribe button if well-spoken Love Island chaos is your idea of a good time. Hit the like button and that new hype button too, because it genuinely helps us grow and reach more tea lovers like you. Trust me, you want to be subscribed for where this season is going, because the dust that settles tonight does not stay settled for long. Now let us pour it.
Quick refresher, because a lot happened. We left off with Kenzie and Corbin having had their little secret kiss, the one nobody else in the villa knows about yet. Melanie made it crystal clear she is not over-sincere. Sincere continued his lifelong career of being deeply insincere. Corbin got quietly betrayed by Kenzie, even if he does not fully know the scope of it. And Aniya's insecurities are doing their level best to sabotage a perfectly good relationship with KC. And now, tonight, the producers are running a recoupling, but not through another public vote. This time, the Islanders write love letters and decide for themselves who they want. Which means the results of America's last vote, the one that scrambled everyone and lit all of this drama, are about to get handed right back to the Islanders to undo. And oh, do they undo it. The only thing America gets to vote on tonight comes right at the very end, and we will get there. We open on Trinity and Aniya having a chat, and I need everyone to buckle up immediately. Aniya is recounting how Casey supposedly told her she cannot expect him to be serious 100% of the time. Except, and this is the part that gets me, she is putting words in this man's mouth that he never actually said. She frames it like he told her she is restricting him from exploring. He never said that. I am not the messenger here. I am just letting you know the record does not match the retelling. And that is the whole problem with Aniya in one scene. The story mutates somewhere between leaving the conversation and recounting it, and that gap between what was said and what she heard is going to haunt this couple all episode. Drop your thoughts below. Is Aniya genuinely misremembering, or is she building a case in her own head? Meanwhile, Casey pulls Bryce and Zach for a debrief because the man needs witnesses to his own innocence at this point. He tells them Aniya is upset that he is not serious enough. And then he says the thing that should have ended the whole argument. He told her he values her more than his desire to explore, and it is just not getting through to her head. He laid his entire heart out, and it bounced right off. Bryce, doing his occasional impression of a wise man, offers that maybe this is Aniya trying to lock him in. He advises Casey to just be honest, to actually listen to her and see how she feels, and that if someone new walks in, well, then they explore. Solid, normal, healthy advice. Casey also makes it clear he is completely over the whole soul thing. Got it, done, moved on. Which is important because his partner has decided that soul is the great threat to her relationship, while the man himself has already filed soul under closed cases.
Back with Trinity, who asks the obvious question of what Aniya is going to do, and admits she is conflicted because she really likes him. In her interview, Aniya is in full denial mode, and she delivers a line I adore. She says she wishes she could go inside Casey's brain instead of looking in her own head. Girl, the call is coming from inside the house. She says the whole situation feels like an Uno reverse card, like everything got flipped around on her, which, honestly, is the most self-aware thing anyone says before the recoupling. Then, back at the boys, Zach starts to suggest that maybe Casey needs someone more like, and Casey finishes the sentence for him, like you and Kayda. And no, Casey, sweetheart of a man, but no. You should not be comparing yourself to others, brother. That is the exact trap. In his own interview, Casey says he cannot change himself or fake who he is just to make Aniya comfortable, which is the kind of clarity I wish she would catch. Surprisingly, Caleb pulls Jen for a chat to catch up on bombshell business, and he does it right in front of Gabe. Caleb explains that he is getting adjusted to this whole being in a back and forth competition with another guy situation, which is a brand new sport for the Cowboy. He reveals that he told Kenzie he is going to explore too, specifically to let her know he is not just going to sit in her back pocket waiting around. And to his credit, he says he does not blame Kenzie for how she goes about things. Mature, almost too mature for what she is doing to him. Jen offers her read, which is that Kenzie and Corbin will not last much longer if Melanie and Corbin settle together. And the reason that prediction is so off is beautifully simple. Jen does not know about the secret kiss. She is doing analysis with half the board hidden. Jen also says she is happy with Gabe, which is low-key a little sad in this scene because it really did look like Caleb was angling to explore her. The Cowboy shot his shot and the rim was already taken. Zach and Bryce reconvene for their daily bromance summit, and these two cannot help themselves. They talk about how the Hideaway apparently made all the girls want to get more freaky. Bryce asks how Zach feels about Kayda, and Zach admits something genuinely interesting. He is scared that after the Hideaway, Kayda is going to want to get closer, and it kind of frightens him. Commitment terror, live and in color. But then, Bryce says he feels like Trinity is super into him, and Zach agrees that it looks like Trinity wants to, and I quote the energy here, jump his bones. Bryce nods along and mentions they got close last night, and Zach asks if Bryce thinks they will, seal the deal on the island. Bryce says yeah, maybe, and the way he says it, looking at Zach, it low-key sounds like the man wants to seal the deal with Zach. I am just saying, the allegations remain undefeated, and Bryce is not even trying to file an appeal anymore. Now here is a thread to keep your eye on, because this is the secret that is one slip from chaos. Melanie reveals to Kayda that she and Sincere had a chat, and that she told him the ball is in his court because of all the lies, and that she is not going to move first. Then she asks Kayda to keep it a secret. Pinky promise. Adorable, intimate, ironclad. Except Soul walks in at the exact wrong moment and clocks the pinky promise. And Sol, being nobody's fool, goes straight to Caleb and reveals that the other girls are keeping secrets, noting the little pinky promise she just witnessed. So now there is a secret about a secret, and the clock is officially ticking. But trust me, the way these secrets pay off later is so much messier than this little moment lets on. Trinity asks Kenzie point blank whether she wants to go back to Corbin. And Kenzie, master of the non-answer, lies. She says she does not know, that she just wants to stay with someone instead of keep switching beds. And here is my issue, because I have to say it. Caleb will have you no matter what, Kenzie. That man has made it abundantly clear. So your insecurities here are entirely your own making. You are not stuck. You are just choosing to act stuck because the truth is inconvenient. But the letter she writes later tells on her in a way no conversation could. Zach is in bed with Bryce until Trinity walks over and kicks him out. The bromance gets physically separated by a woman who would like her man back, please.
At this point, it is going to be impossible for Zach and Bryce to beat the allegations. Trinity and Kayda have other things to be worrying about than new bombshells. I feel like even bombshells won't be able to get in between Zach anymore. And then, Melanie finally sleeps in the same bed as Corbin, and they share a kiss. After all that resistance, all those nights sleeping outside on principle, she lets him in. Which is a big deal, and which is going to feel very different by the end of this episode. Because Melanie's heart is writing checks her hands keep trying to cancel. Cut to Gabe and Jen getting intimate below the sheets, and the camera, fully unbothered, shows Gabe's underwear coming off. On screen. Sir, who needs the hideaway when you have a duvet and zero shame? Jen pretty much confirms in the morning that the get-down happened. These two are running their own private suite in a house full of cameras, and honestly, the commitment is admirable.
Aniya, meanwhile, is slowly trying to convince herself she is okay with Casey exploring Sol, which would be a beautiful, mature growth moment. Except for one tiny detail. Casey is already over Sol. He moved on episodes ago. So Aniya is bravely making peace with a problem that no longer exists, while the actual problem, the gap between her words and her feelings, sits untouched. Comment below, is she being mature or just rehearsing a fight nobody else is having? Morning hits and the kitchen becomes a battlefield of romantic gestures. Caleb makes Kenzie breakfast and she gives him a kiss. Sweet, wholesome, almost convincing. Then Corbin makes Melanie breakfast, complete with a little heart-shaped pancake.
He makes an extra heart pancake for Kenzie.
And the man does it with full knowledge of exactly what he is doing. Boy is playing. He is running the affection on two separate accounts and keeping both balances positive. And to prove the point, Corbin and Kenzie keep up their flirty little moment right in front of Caleb. The cowboy is making her eggs while she is making eyes across the kitchen. It is rough out here. Sol, Jen, and Kenzie catch up, and Sol brags about how good Sincere is with her. Bless her optimism. Kenzie shares that her talk with Corbin went well, that they miss each other, and that Corbin gave her reassurance he is still into her. In her interview, Sol observes that Kenzie seems like a chicken running around with its head cut off, which is, frankly, an accurate medical diagnosis. Then Sol steps away, and the second she is gone, Kenzie reveals to Jen the truth about her and Corbin's kiss. So the secret is no longer just hers. It is spreading. And we will see just how far this thing travels before someone gets burned. Because secrets in this villa have a shelf life of about a day and a half.
Zach, Bryce, and Sincere have a chat, and Sincere talks about his conversation with Melanie. He calls it weird vibes. He says Melanie told him she misses him, and that he said the same right back. Then he admits he has strong emotions for both women. Zach, cutting to it, asks who he actually prioritizes, and Sincere says it is not a coin flip, that he feels more comfortable with Sol, but that Melanie not coming down the stairs to him hurt him. In his interview, Sincere tells the boys flat out that he cannot pick. He cannot pick. A man coupled with one woman, openly aching for another, telling his friends he genuinely cannot choose. Save that, because in a few hours, he is going to be forced to pick in front of the entire villa. And the answer is going to gut somebody. Melanie and Corbin chat, and he asks how she feels about him giving Kenzie a pancake. Melanie admits it makes her feel weird. Weird enough that it makes her want to just let him be with Kenzie. Classic self-protection. And Corbin, to his credit, tells her not to self-sabotage. He says if she likes the connection, she cannot be scared to step on some toes. And you know what? That is great advice. The kind that wins this entire show. Corbin is one of the few people in this villa who actually understands the assignment. Melanie says in her interview that for the first time, she is genuinely confused about how to move. The hesitation is the tell, and it is going to cost her at the mailbox. Caleb and Kenzie chat, and Caleb asks how it feels to see Melanie and Corbin together now. Kenzie says it was hard at first, but it is easier during the day. And I have a theory about why the daytime is fine. It is because she gets her kisses at night.
from someone else. But that is just me reading between the heart pancakes. Caleb notes that Kenzie has been more flirty since yesterday, and she leans into how attracted she is to him. Then they get onto Caleb's eyesight, and Kenzie, a nurse, gets it spectacularly wrong. His vision is 20/13. Hers is 20/30, which means his is sharper than hers, and she somehow gaslights this man into thinking his vision is the worse one. Now look, she is a nurse, not an optometrist, I know. But that part irked me on a cellular level. The girl confidently flipped the numbers on a man about his own eyeballs. She keeps gassing him up about how attracted she is, all while sitting on a mountain of unspoken feelings for Corbin. And I have to ask the uncomfortable question. At this point, is Kenzie really any different from sincere? Because when I look at her right now, I'm feeling the exact same way I felt watching him. And it is making me mad. Drop your verdict below. Is Kenzie just sincere in a wig? Or am I being too harsh? Sincere and Soul have their chat, and the man has started using nicknames, so he does not mix up names with Melanie. Read that sentence again. He is using pet names as a memory management system, so he does not call one girl by the other girl's name. Incredible, diabolical, efficient. He tells Soul he feels like she is getting closer, and she says she likes that he is being honest. And you can catch it in his eyes, that little flicker of guilt when the word honest gets attached to him. Like his body knows the truth, even when his mouth will not say it. He stumbles a bit and says he tries to drop his guard as much as he can. Soul asks how he describes her to the boys, and he says she is like a ball of fresh air, and how happy he is. Then Soul, sharper than she gets credit for, points out that Sincere never really asks to get to know her more. And his excuse? He says he likes the mystery. The mystery. Sir, that is not romance. That is you not wanting to learn details you might have to keep straight against the other letters. Soul is eating it all up, saying in her interview that she likes how easy he makes her feel, how happy she is. Oh Soul, I fear for you. Genuinely. Kayda and Zach chat, and she gushes about how much she likes kissing him, then asks if he expected to find someone this quickly. Zach says he thought he would explore more, but that nobody in the villa made him want to. Kayda low-key agrees, and you absolutely know, the producers heard that little exchange and immediately started rating the bombshell inventory for two people perfectly designed to test them. You do not say nobody could tempt me on the show without the universe lining up a temptation. That is just physics.
Trinity gets a text, and here it is. The Islanders will recouple tonight by writing a love letter to the person they want to couple up with. It is time to put their feelings into words. And Zach, my menace, my favorite anxious disaster, immediately asks, "Can I write to Bryce?" Sir, the allegations are no longer allegations at this point. They are sworn testimony. The villa goes into full meltdown. Melanie is stressing because a recoupling is the absolute last thing she was expecting. Bryce asks Corbin how he feels, and Corbin is also conflicted. Soul, smartly, observes that people's feelings are about to get hurt and that it is going to get messy. And I do think she was saying that about everyone else, not realizing she might be on the receiving end. Foreshadowing, party of one. And then Trinity, the gift that she is, asks the question on behalf of an entire generation. Where the fudge is ChatGPT? Because writing a heartfelt love letter by hand with no assistance, under pressure, in front of cameras is genuinely a nightmare scenario. I love Trinity. Never change. Let us cut to the chase and get to the letters. Ariana walks in with new bangs, and I have to say, whew, I love it. Mail has been delivered. Tonight, all will be revealed. Here is how it works. They reveal the mail, then reveal who it is from. If a couple wrote to each other, they get coupled up. If the mailbox is empty, that person becomes single. Simple rules, devastating consequences. First up, Trinity and Bryce. They wrote to each other, obviously. Trinity's letter is sweet. She shares how she was nervous at first, but how happy she is that they took the chance to get to know each other. And she says she can see herself walking out of the villa with him. She did a beautiful job. No ChatGPT required. Bryce appreciates that Trinity actually hears him and gets his jokes. He ends his letter with, "Love, Bryce." Cute. Let us start with the happy couples and save the real drama for later. Jen and Gabe are next, and there are no surprises here. They pick each other. Gabe wrote that he gets so lost in her eyes, he cannot even tell if they are green or hazel, and that the cultural differences simply do not matter with her. He thanks America for connecting them and for having good intentions.
then ends in Portuguese with a sweet little kiss from your favorite Brazilian. Jen writes about how Gabe makes her feel special, and she even attempts some Portuguese of her own. Still a couple. The most drama-free pairing in the villa, and at this point, that is its own flex.
Aniya and KC are next, and we all knew they would pick each other. But their bumpy few days added just enough suspense to make you sweat it. Aniya pours out her real feelings. And this is where her letter does what her conversations could not. She writes that her entire life, she has felt like she has been in a fairy tale, that she feels like a princess who has been waiting for her Prince Charming. She thanks KC for making her feel beautiful, secure, and even safe enough to be vulnerable. She is brutally honest, admitting that she tends to overthink and spiral, and that her past makes it hard to believe someone could want her for her and not for what she can offer them. She says she seriously does not know what she would do without him by her side. KC is getting genuinely emotional reading it. She signs it, Love, Aniya Hardy. KC says it made him feel good, and Aniya explains she was trying to show how much she appreciates him. Then KC's letter gets read, and he writes that he feels they have built something special, that she is truly beautiful from her complexion to her smile that brightens a room. He acknowledges they have had trouble lately, but says he wants to work through the challenges together because the strongest connections are the ones that survive the hard parts. He shares that growing up was not easy, so humor became his way to cope with his struggles. He ends with, Love, KC. And here is the thing that struck me. Everything these two could not get across in conversation, they finally relayed through letters. This challenge was genuinely good for them because it forced them to put feelings into words instead of misremembered arguments, which, honestly, is something the modern age has lost. Write your loved ones a letter more often, people. It might just save you. They are still a couple. Zach and Kayda are next, and of course, they wrote to each other. Love you, no surprises, just keep it up, you two. Honestly, the only challenge left for these two is Casa Amor, and we all know it. The funny part of their letter exchange is that they both mention the red dot, the moment Zach stepped on it to move on from Kenzie. And every time the red dot comes up, the cameras keep panning to Kenzie. The producers are messy, and they want you to know it. That is not an accident. That is editing with an agenda. Still a couple, easily. Okay, now we get to the messy situations, and the room goes tense immediately. Kenzie and Caleb are up, and it is time to find out. Kenzie opens her mailbox, and she has 2 letters. 2. The first letter talks about being lost in Kenzie's eyes, about her smile lighting up every room, about how easily she communicates and how vulnerable she is. The depth of it made me think it was from Corbin, but surprisingly, it was from Caleb. He ends it with, Sincerely, Caleb. The cowboy can write. Who knew? The second letter is from Corbin, and it talks about how America broke them apart, how he loves her energy with him, how she makes him feel important and wanted, and how he cannot wait to see where this goes. He ends it, Love, Corbin. And during all of this, Melanie surprisingly does not seem too devastated watching it unfold. Because deep down, you already know, she wants Sincere anyway. Then we look at Caleb's mailbox, and it is empty. And this is the first time all season I have seen real emotion from Caleb. He looks genuinely devastated. He tries to play it calm, but you can see it land. And I'm sorry, but Kenzie no longer has any right to claim she wants a cowboy. America heard she wanted a cowboy. America gave her a cowboy. And Kenzie spit it right back in our face. The disrespect to the entire democratic process. Corbin opens his mailbox, and obviously there is only one letter in there, because Melanie wrote to Sincere, not to him. Corbin reads Kenzie's letter, and it is genuinely hard to watch Caleb react in real time. Kenzie's letter to Corbin is all heart. She talks about wanting a guy who makes her laugh when she is down, about how she thought he was hot the second he walked in, about missing his deep voice, his goofy laugh, and yes, the heart-shaped pancakes. She says being apart made her heart grow fonder, and that most of all, she just misses him. She signs it, Love, Kenz. They picked each other, so they are back to being a couple. Corbin and Kenzie made a bet on each other and got rewarded for it. Caleb, ever the gentleman, says good for them, that he is happy to see the smiles on both their faces. And you just know every Southern belle in the audience is swooning even harder for this man, because watching him take that L with grace is its own kind of magnetic. Kenzie and Corbin tested it, explored it, and came right back to exactly what they wanted, each other. I will be honest, I did not expect this couple to be this strong when they first connected. They surprised me. Now for the main event. Sincere gets letters from both Melanie and Soul. 2 letters.
The man who told the boys he could not pick is now holding the consequences of being wanted by two people at once. The first letter talks about a magnetic first impression, mentions a hand on the chest, and references a nervous system calming down. So I immediately clocked it as souls. And I was right. It was sweet, but it was not that deep. The second letter is a different animal entirely. Melanie's letter reads like a letter from an actual couple. She admits she came into this villa wanting to have fun, be free, and experience things she never got the chance to. But then she met him and realized she was falling fast. She writes about blinking and being right back on their first night, about how she has had to learn to let go of her hyper-independence with him, and how much she loves learning about him and his family. She even remembers his favorite birthday memory, the cake shaped like Sour Patch Kids, surrounded by his family, which is a level of detail that does not lie. She says he makes her giddy every time they lock eyes, that she thinks about him even when they are apart, and that ever since they got broken apart, she has been hoping for one more chance to tell him how she feels. She ends it exposed and honest. Sincere, I am sorry, and I would really like to try this again with you. It had a depth Soul's letter simply did not. Then, Soul opens her mailbox, and it is empty. Sincere played her. Soul is disappointed, but she says she had an inkling. Women's intuition, she calls it. And she is right. She saw it coming. And it stings, because Sincere got to play with this girl for a few days and then stroll right back to Melanie. I just hope, going forward, they are actually good to each other and stop playing with people's hearts. Sincere's letter to Melanie gets read. And listen, the man's entire brand is a lie wrapped in a name that promises the opposite. So whatever he signs it, the irony writes itself. He fills the letter with his trademark confusing analogies. He says that from the moment he walked into the villa, he laid eyes on her, and that there was something real between them, but that it fell apart like a broken glass. You cannot put the pieces back together and expect it to hold water, he says, and you cannot rewind time to before the glass broke. Sir, this is a love letter, not a TED Talk on ceramics. I cannot take this man seriously. I have tried. But somewhere underneath the metaphor, there is a real feeling. He writes about everything he has been missing in their time apart, and how they always said this makes more sense outside the villa. Then he gets specific in a way that actually lands. He can already picture their first date in Philly, the two of them laying on the hammocks at Friends Landing, exactly like they talked about. He calls it taking action, the first step toward learning from his past mistakes. And he closes with the line that does it. Home is where I want to be, and that is with you. Love, Sincere. Melanie looks genuinely happy reading it, and I fear for this girl. Sincere admits the decision was tough. Really, really tough. Two lovely women with bright spirits and all of that. But he says he knew deep down that Melanie was what he needed. And the sweet part, the part that almost makes me root for them, is the detail. She remembered his Sour Patch cake. He pictured their Philly date. And they both put those little specifics in writing. America, I am begging. Please do not give us any more drama from these two, because I cannot afford to buy another television. And that leaves Soul and Caleb, single, together. Both bombshells who came in together, now coupled with each other by default, the two odd ones out holding hands at the bottom of the standings. Do I think they are going to be a thing? No, not really. But I have been wrong before, so maybe they surprise us. Stranger things have happened on this island. And then the episode closes on something that puts all the drama into perspective. It airs with a dedication to a producer named James, who unfortunately passed away during filming. Tragic, genuinely. A real reminder that behind all the pancakes and pinky promises and petty edits, there are real people who make this show happen. Rest easy, James. The vote this time is for our favorite couple, so this one is in your hands. All right, here is where I lay out where I think this is all heading. My first prediction is that the couples are now back at equilibrium. The board has been reset. Every pairing got stress tested, pulled apart, tempted, and ultimately found its way back. The chaos America injected has been fully neutralized by the Islanders themselves. Soul and Caleb, in my opinion, are simply not compatible, so I do not think the producers are going to bother hunting for new bombshells specifically for those two. They are the leftovers paired by math, not chemistry, and I think the show knows it. The couples have been tested and found their way back to each other, which means, naturally, the producers are about to throw even more tests at them. That is how this works. Stability is an invitation. And the couple I think gets the next bullseye is Zach and Kayda. Both of them said on camera that nobody in the villa could tempt them, so I am predicting the producers go find bombshells that fit their types perfectly, just to see if that confidence holds. You do not get to say nobody can tempt me without the universe testing the theory. Sincere is going to be further tempted and tested, and I think this is shaping up to be his final exam. He has skated by on analogies and nicknames and darkroom conversations all season. At some point, the show is going to put a temptation in front of him that he cannot smooth talk his way around, and we will finally see what is underneath all the smoke. And Casey and Aniya seem to have actually worked things out, at least for now. The letters did what their arguments could not. So the real question is whether Casey fully locks in, and whether Aniya can finally open up more instead of building cases in her own head. If she lets the wall down, this becomes one of the strongest couples in the villa. If she does not, those same insecurities are going to resurface, and we will be right back here. If you made it this far, you are my kind of tea lover. Drop your predictions below. Which couple survives the next twist, and is Sincere finally getting exposed? Smash that like and hype button, subscribe for the next drop, and I will see you for the next round of chaos. Spilling the tea, one drop at a time.